Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Habib. We have a great show for you today. And if you want to call and ask questions, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. And we'll be here till about 9 o'clock tonight. And also, too, I just wanted to let you know we're now on Spotify, so you can catch us on Spotify. So if you download from them, you can catch our show on there as well. So just more outlets to catch the show. Yeah, how about that? So today we're going to talk about the rumors. Robert, the rumors were true. Manny Pacquiao has signed with the PBC, and we'll let you know who he's going to fight.
Good.
Deontay Wilder assaults a mascot on ESPN. Beeb, a sickening incident.
How could you not know that someone's in there? The guy's moving his hands and stuff. What did he think? It was a robot?
Well, now Wilder has doubled
Christ.
back on that. Wilder's actually doubled back on that claim, and I'll tell you all about it. So, and there's been some new developments on the claim. So there we go.
Oh my God. As long as he pays the guy's medical bills.
Yeah, right. There you go. All right. First, we get started with ESPN. Terence Crawford versus Jose Benavidez for the WBO welterweight title. Terence Crawford stops Benavidez with about 10 seconds left in the final round to retain his WBO welterweight title. This was a good fight early, man. I thought Benavidez did very well. I thought he countered very well. Definitely got Crawford's attention with some hard shots. I actually had him. I think going into the fifth round, I had him up 3-2. Going into the sixth round, I had him up 3-2. But from the sixth round on, man, it was all Crawford. Benavidez seemed to run out of gas to me. He couldn't move very well on that leg. We know that leg, he was shot in that leg or whatever, and he couldn't really move around. He was flat-footed for a lot of it, and I think he just ran out of gas for some of it too. Crawford put a ton of body shots in on him early. And I tell you, the thing that impresses me about Crawford is his ability to make adjustments throughout the fight. He had some trouble early in this fight. Like I said, within the first 5 rounds, I thought he had trouble finding the range. As he said in the post-fight, he had problems with his power, I thought. Benavidez tagged him a couple of times. He was getting hit a little bit more than we're used to. And, yeah, man, I mean, he was having some issues, but Crawford is one of those guys. And maybe it's a combination of him. Maybe it's a combination of his corner. He's almost like a Floyd Mayweather where he adjusts. You know, he makes those adjustments that need to be made. So he can be fighting for the first, 6-8 rounds, a closer fight than it should be. And all of a sudden he just, seems that they hit a switch and then he's gone. And it's those adjustments that he makes. Beeb, what were your thoughts on Terence Crawford? What were your thoughts on and what did you think of Benavidez? Because a lot of people thought this was just going to be a walk in the park for him, but this was a tougher fight than expected.
Yeah, I had Crawford up 4-2 after 6, and I thought the fight was still within Benavidez's grasp. But what happened from 6th round, to the end of the fight, Benavidez just faded badly, and Crawford did some things differently. Crawford, as everyone knows, is very versatile. He's dangerous from the outside, mid-range, and even in the inside. He can grind it out when he has to. But in my opinion, he's most vulnerable on the outside. Guys that Hank Lundy was landing some straight shots on him. Even Delorme was landing some straight shots on him. Gamboa was landing straight shots on him from the outside. But what he does is when he's most dangerous is in that mid-range area. When he gets in that mid-range area, he's able to really generate power and dig his feet into that canvas and really hurt guys when he's in that mid-range area. So early in this fight, it was a tactical fight, and it was fought primarily on the outside, and that's why Benavidez was able to hold his own because, as I said, Crawford can box from the outside well, but he's really not as effective, like I said, as he is when he's in that mid-range. And he doesn't really hurt guys from the outside either. He likes to step in and dig those power shots up close. But the thing is we saw Benavidez fade, and he just couldn't move. That you could tell that leg was going on him. You could just tell by the body language that he felt uncomfortable pushing off that back leg. Now, that front foot is your compass. That guides you in the direction that you need to go. But that back foot, that's your gas pedal. That's your motor. And it enables you to do a lot of things. Like if when you're up against the ropes and you want to pivot out, you got to push off that back foot to spin. Benavidez couldn't do any of those things. It's a shame because what would have happened if Benavidez had a healthy leg in there? And I hate to make excuses because Crawford did make great adjustments in there. I had the fight. I think I had Benavidez winning like 2 or 3, I think 2 rounds or three rounds in this fight. No, I actually think I only gave Benavidez 2 rounds in this fight. So maybe it would have been more competitive, but Crawford's the type of guy where you say to yourself, whatever's thrown at him, he's got an answer for it. So if Benavidez was outboxing from the outside, Crawford would have bit down on his mouthpiece and been that dog like he is sometimes. He can be a dog in there, and he'll grind it out with you up close. He'll take that outside game away from you like he did to other fighters. So with that being said, this fight was more competitive than I thought it was in the first half of the fight. And I thought to myself, well, I'm going to be in for a pleasant surprise, or I'm actually going to get a good fight. But unfortunately, Benavidez couldn't spin out of those corners when he was strapped against the ropes, couldn't sit down on that right hand, and he just couldn't move the way he needed to move to be able to keep himself at a distance from Crawford and box him on the outside like he wanted to do. Tried to get Crawford to come in, but he just couldn't catch him with that right hand. He was trying to suck him into that right hand all night. Crawford wasn't taking the bait. Crawford would come in just far enough and shoot his shots and go to the body, and he would get underneath that right hand and go to the body, and a few times that right hand landed, but it didn't land the way Benavidez needed it to land and the way he wanted it to land. So I think Crawford stepped to Benavidez in the second half of this fight, went to the body well, and he was in that mode where he said to himself, I'm going to start stalking this guy. I'm going to start walking this guy down. This guy can't keep up with me anymore. He's not throwing the jab like he was early on. He picked up on that, and that's when he stepped to him and took it into the trenches with him, and he was able to get him out of there in the 12th round. But I feel bad for Benavidez, because you say to yourself, what could have been? Because I don't see that leg getting better over time. I see it getting worse. And you look at guys like Andre Ward, who had injuries in his career. He had a bad knee. He blew his knee out. He had a bad shoulder, but he such a great adapter was as well. Early in his career, even in the amateurs, he was a guy that was kind of an in and out guy, a guy that liked to go in and throw flurries and go back out like he did in the Super 6, the first fight with Kessler. He was going in and out, sort of like an ambush style. But if you noticed, as that tournament went on, he started really fighting those guys on the inside, and he started bodying those guys. And over time, you've seen Andre Ward move a lot less. And I think that was due to his knee, maybe not being able to move as well, because he had the knee injury, had the ACL reconstructive surgery, had a bad right shoulder. So what did he do? A lot of times you'd see him switch southpaw and take a little bit of pressure off that back shoulder. Benavidez, I don't know if he has – I think his injury is a little bit worse than Andre Ward's were, and I don't think he has as much tools in the toolbox, and I don't think he has those wrinkles to his game like Andre Ward did. But Benavidez is a guy that he needs that back foot, because he likes to take those hard pivots in there and kind of lay up against the ropes and spin on corners and stuff like that. And he's not going to be able to do that with that leg the way it is. So it's a shame, but taking nothing away from Crawford, he did make a lot of adjustments in this fight, and he threw about 3 or 4 different looks at Benavidez, and Benavidez couldn't deal with it. He couldn't figure him out.
No, and Darnell is in the chat saying that we're kind of making excuses for his leg, and
no, that leg's fucked up, dude.
Well, yeah, I mean it's a story.
I mean
it's kind of the story is that his leg is messed up. I mean it's messed up, and does that take away from Crawford's performance? No. If Benavidez had 2 good legs, does Crawford beat him? Yeah, I think he does. But there's nothing saying. I mean, he has a messed up leg. I'm not saying Benavidez would have beat him. I mean, I'm just saying he has a jacket.
My take on the whole thing is based off what I've seen. If that leg was healthy, possibly he would have finished the fight, made a good account of himself, which he still did. And maybe it would have been an 8-4, 7-5 type fight. Who knows? But you could just see how he could not push off that foot. You could see it.
Maybe
you could see it.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Maybe it's closer, but I don't know that he wins.
I don't think he wins. I'm just saying.
But it's a different fight.
Different fight.
But again, I don't know that he wins. You know,
I don't think he wins. I wouldn't. I still wouldn't think he would win. I wouldn't pick him. But it was a shame because you saw a young kid in there with skills, and he wanted to do certain things, and he just couldn't do them.
But, you know, at the end of the day, man, he just doesn't have, I mean, Crawford's on like a completely different level. Crawford really impressed me last night. And he impressed me because when I'm looking at this guy, as big as Benavidez was, and as strong as Benavidez was, you know, because Benavidez tagged him a couple of times in that early going. And, you know, look, man, if Crawford gets tagged like that a few times, I mean, nobody's going to sit there and take that kind of punch all night, you know. No. And Crawford was able to make those adjustments. I think that's what impresses me the most about Crawford is those adjustments he makes. Yep. That's biggest thing. He just
makes a decision that, you know what, I'm going to box. He's like, I'll box the first minute of this round. Then in the second minute, I'm going to go in there and try to dog the guy out. I'm going to take it to him. And then he'll go back out and start using the ring again and lateral movement, give him a different look. I'm going to switch to southpaw for the last 30. You know what I'm saying? There's just so many things he throws at guys. There's no way to be able to defend against everything that's being thrown at you. That's why that Spence fight is going to be very, very intriguing.
Yeah, I mean, he's got so many tools. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's the thing. I mean, he does. Beeb, let me ask you real quick before we kick it over to Robert. Benavidez's leg was clearly hurt. Obviously, he was shot in that leg. Whether it was hurt or not, it's not the same. Now, we noticed this last night. Why didn't his trainers notice this? And why didn't his trainers think about, you know, hey, before we send him out here against this guy, you know, who is known for moving around and boxing, you know, in his brilliant boxing, his brilliant foot movement, everything like that. I mean, what are they doing? Why would you send that kid out there?
Couple reasons, because he really wasn't hurt a lot in that fight. If you notice, like Crawford really wasn't beating him up and banging him up because his defense was sound, number one. And number two, I think they believed that they could suck Crawford into a right hand and maybe get him out of there or hurt him or do something. You know, I understand your point because you're saying like he's like a wounded animal in there. He's like a sitting duck, but he still wasn't, you know, he was still defending okay. He wasn't getting staggered. You know, the thing was he just wasn't able to push off and get his offense going. But he's a really slick defender, and he really knows how to slip shots and ride shots out. But I did think that the body work was starting to take its toll on him. But it's hard to tell, you know what I mean? Like when a guy's get hit to the body, if he's not like bending over and doubling over, you don't really know how hurt he is. But the accumulation of those shots just takes your legs away without you even knowing it. You know, that as the rounds go on, you're sitting there saying, what's going on here? My body, I feel flat here. And that's because the body work is just taking your legs away from you. Yeah. And but that's what I think. I think because he really wasn't getting hurt badly in the fight. He was losing the fight. He was getting touched up a little bit, but he wasn't really hurt. Where you know, you felt that he could get stopped or anything. He didn't look like he was in any imminent danger. And then, you know, again, they believed in his right hand. So that's why I think they didn't stop it.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about more like in training camp. I mean, you know.
Yeah. Oh, like devise a game plan
and everything like that. I mean, he's in training camp. You could see the same guy.
I'll tell you why. Who's in his corner? His dad.
Yeah. That's very true.
And if he's telling his dad, yeah, Dad, my leg's okay, it's not bad, I could do this. And his dad's not knowing it. So now if they take him to a specialist again, you know, and have him look at that leg again,
that's the problem with fathers in the corner. It really is. With family in the corner or fathers in the corner, that's a big problem. Yeah,
I could never picture my father training me, man. My father would probably start throwing punches at me worse than my opponent in the corner if my father trained me. May he rest in peace. But yeah, It's tough, man.
Yeah, it's got to be. Robert, give us your breakdown of this fight. What did you think of Crawford, and what did you think about Benavidez?
Well, you know, had it gone the distance, I would have called this a very disappointing performance by Terence Crawford. Yes, he was able to make the adjustments, but I really thought he should have put this guy away a lot earlier than what he did. I agree with his mother. After the 9th round, she said, "Son, it's time to end this." I totally agreed with her assessment. You played with this guy too long. Let's get him out of there. Let's get this over with. And if I was in Jose's corner and I was one of his advisors, I would no longer ask him to continue his boxing career because I think
another one bites the dust on the Robbie chopping block.
He don't play, does he?
I think you're going to see more and more of this happen. I mean, come on. And several doctors told him after he got shot, "Son, you're going to be lucky if you ever walk again, let alone fight." I mean, come on. I've got 2 bad legs for a living, guys. You don't mess around with things that you need in your lifetime. Move on and live a happy life. I'm glad he knocked him out, but I really thought he should have done it a lot sooner. And Terence Crawford is wonderful at making adjustments. He's one of the best. He's probably the best at that during a fight that's currently fighting today. But let's be honest, you're a champion. Let's up the level of your competition. Let's get this politics garbage out of the way, and let's start making the fights that should be made. It's time to walk across the street and open up Al Heyman's door, and let's make fights that need to be made. No more of these pulling these rabbits out of your hat and putting people in there that don't deserve title shots. If you claim to be the best in the world, let's start proving it in the ring, okay?
Yeah, but I mean, it may not be 100% his fault either. I mean, what if they've already? I mean, I don't know if they've already negotiated or whatever. But who knows? I mean, we're talking about things we really don't know about. I mean, honestly.
And I hated his post-fight interview when the guy said, "Well, who do you want next?" He said, "It's not up to me. It's up to Bob." He said, "I'm paid to fight. It's Bob's job to get me to fight."
But in his defense, though, Robbie, he said, "I'll fight them all." But
the reporter, when the reporter says, "Who do you want next?" Start naming off names, brother.
Yeah, but he said he'll fight them all. That's what he said.
Right.
Well, yeah.
He goes, "I'll fight them all, but Bob's got to get them for me."
Yeah.
And he's went back and forth with us, but he's went back and forth with Spence on social media and stuff like that. I mean, the two know each other are there, and they've popped off at each other a couple of times on social media. So I mean, he's making his presence known. I mean, what else? I mean, and everybody out there, by the way, everybody out there is saying Jose Benavidez wasn't any good or whatever. The guy was 27-0. He was WBA interim title holder. He wasn't.
He had an extensive
full-fledged champion, but he was like an interim champion.
He's one of those interim or regular.
Yeah,
he had an extensive amateur career. This kid too. This kid was a good fighter.
Maurice Herrera, Jorge Paez Jr., Francisco Santana, friend of the show. Yeah, he fought some good guys, man.
He's a decent fighter, man.
He's definitely a decent fighter. Definitely had a lot of talent and everything like that. So all you guys saying that he was a nobody and this and that, just because I mean,
but if you don't
he was
have
27-0.
legs,
I agree with that.
Find something else to do.
Wow, Robert's so harsh, man. He doesn't play around, does he, Beeb?
No, he doesn't. But unfortunately, he may be right on this one.
He might be.
I am. Take it from somebody who's disabled for a living, okay? He's done.
All right. So so Robert brought up a good point here. Let's talk about this for a second. Where does Crawford go from here? I mean, I think he, obviously he tries to make a fight with somebody in the PBC. Is it too early to feed him Spence? Is it too early to,
It's time to up the level of competition, brother.
Yeah, but I don't think they give him Spence right away.
But who else is?
Okay, who do you give him? Keith?
Who do they have on the top ringside? That's the big question.
They don't have anybody. I don't think they have anybody left.
What the hell are they going to do with them? Like Bob's got to kind of sit down with and just make some serious concessions because he's got to go across the street. There's no ands, ifs, ors about it. He's got to go across the street, or I mean, this guy's going to have a hard time getting opponents.
He's the WBO champion. If you look at their rankings, I bet you there's nobody worth fighting unless they're in the PBC. Come on, really?
Yeah.
Look at like a Danny Garcia fight or like they've got a ton of welterweights over there that I think he fights over there.
Who could he fight? Amir Khan? Amir Khan ain't gonna fight him.
No.
Amir Khan won't fight him.
He'd kill him. He'd kill him.
Oh yeah, he'd destroy him. I think he'd beat Amir Khan.
It's time for him to be in a competitive fight. He's never been in a competitive fight.
Oh, that Gamboa fight was a little competitive.
Pretty competitive, yeah.
I thought it was a pretty good fight.
Okay, but he's at 147 now. That was at 135. Come on.
Touche, Robert.
Yeah.
Touche.
There you go.
But he's only been at 147 for 2 fights. It's only his second fight at 140.
I don't care, Steve. This is.
But you know, Jeff Horn and Jose Benavidez. I don't think they definitely pale in comparison to a Sean Porter, to a Danny Garcia, to a Keith Thurman, Errol Spence. I mean,
yeah.
So,
come on, you make a real fight. It's time.
PBC still got all the fighters, man.
Yeah, nothing he can do.
They still got all the fighters.
So,
yeah, they're gonna have to go across the street
over to the other side and start making fights.
Make a fight. Yeah, I agree. I think the Spence Crawford fight, I think from a promotional standpoint, it's too soon. I don't think that, I mean, people, are starting to know these guys, but I do think it's too soon.
Yeah.
From a promotional standpoint.
Let's face it, by the time they do fight, it's going to be pay-per-view.
Oh, yeah. And that's what they got to build to. That's what they're going to look to build to.
Then it would have to be on Showtime, I would imagine.
When was the last time you saw, like, two big welterweights? I mean, this is like Tommy Hearns and Ray Leonard. I mean, it really is.
So what you're going to have to do is start working your way through the stable. You're going to have to beat Danny Garcia. You're going to have to beat Keith Thurman. You're going to have to beat Sean Porter. Work your way up to Spence.
I would like to see Spence not Spence and Porter, but Porter and Crawford. I think that's a good fight.
That's what I'm talking about. You
that's
have
an awesome
to work
fight.
your way up,
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, let's talk about Shakur Stevenson and Viral Simon. Stevenson scored a first-round knockout over Simon. He knocked Simon down 3 times in the first round, and the fight was stopped. I'll tell you what. You know what I did notice when Shakur came out, even before the fight started, I looked at him. He just looked bigger. I don't know if that's the case or not. Maybe it was a camera. I don't know, but he looked bigger to me.
Did look bigger.
He was bigger.
And he looked strong.
I watched the weigh-in on Friday, Eric, and he definitely is bigger.
Yeah. He definitely looked bigger to me. I mean, he looked just muscular, more muscular than I've seen him.
Definitely.
And
trying to get that man strength now.
Yeah, he did a job on Simon, man. And Simon went the distance. Who did he go the distance with? They said there was 2 champions that he actually.
Craig and Lee Selby.
That was it. All right. So he went the distance with those 2 guys. And for him to go in there and just get pounded like that in the first round, I mean, that guy was done.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
So, any thoughts on Stevenson?
Not much.
Well, I will say this. I mean, he was actually sitting down on shots, and really, you could see him turning his body. Like early in the career, didn't look like he was sitting down and putting his full body, but you could see him really turning into those hooks and bending his knees this time. So, like I said, maybe he's working on some things. Maybe, obviously he's working on some things, and maybe the work he's doing is starting to pay off in the gym. So let's see what happens. Yeah.
Notorious in the chat just said he's cooking steaks with Canelo, so he's getting bigger.
Yeah.
No, what it may be is he might be outgrowing 126. He may have to go to 130.
Yeah, could be. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Robert, your boy.
Keep in mind he's only 21. So
that's it. Your boy, Mile High Mike Alvarado wins via second round KO. It was a vicious KO too. I mean, if you didn't see it, it was vicious. Knocked that guy clean out. His name was Robbie Cannon. How about that?
Put him in against somebody who could really fight and he won't do anything.
Ringside Robbie Cannon. Yeah, but Mike Alvarado, after winning that fight, claims that he was back, that he's back and better than ever. Anybody buying that?
Okay, we'll see. No.
Reese Mack in the chat said,
Colorado and smoke some more weed, brother.
Oh, how dare you. Reese Mack in the chat said, is there any chance of a Shakur Stevenson, Ryan Garcia match? I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, Bob and Oscar have to get together. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't think they'll want to put Garcia in there with them now.
No, not after his last fight. No. Shakur's a special fighter, man. I don't know. Like, you don't know where he's going to go, but I think with his training, and I think Top Rank is going to move him slower. He asked for Lee Selby after the fight, but I think Top Rank is going to move him a little bit slower than that. He might have a fight or two before he gets that fight, but
that's right.
He's a good prospect, man. He's good. He's a good fighter. Solid.
Well, I remember Andre Ward is part of his management team, and he said, and I quote, "We are going to move him slower than what he wants."
Right.
Which is understandable because
which is smart.
Yeah.
How many guys do you see with just a few fights now trying to fight for titles because they were in the Olympics and everything like that? I mean,
Vasily Lomachenko.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you about this guy. On DAZN, the World Boxing Super Series, for the bantamweight title, the WBO bantamweight title, Zolane Tete versus Mikhail Alayan. Okay. Easy for me.
It's hard to say.
Easy for me to say here. A lion. It's hard to look at it the way it's spelled and then say a lion. All right. Zolane Tete won a very close unanimous decision over a lion. Now, let me tell you about a lion. A lion had 4 or 5. What did he come in? 4 or 5 fights?
4 fights he had.
4 fights.
That's it?
That's it. Yeah. Tete won a unanimous decision, 114-111 twice and 114-110. I thought a lion came on and got into the groove after a couple of rounds, man. Again, man, this guy had only 4 fights, and he did an amazing.
He did a title shot after 4 fights.
He did an amazing job in this fight, man. Tete knocked the lion down in the first round. Points were deducted from both fighters in the 10th. The 10th round was Tete, and then the 11th round was a lion. This was a competitive fight. Beeb, what did you think about this fight, man? A lion, I tell you what, really impressed me. I want to see him. I want to see him fight again, man.
Well, I'm going to tell you the truth. Usually, I score the fights, so I got my app ready before the fight starts. Type the guys' names in. 12 rounds, ready to go, and I said, I don't know if I'm going to do that for this fight. Guy's got 4 fights, never heard of him.
Right.
So after 3 rounds, 10-8, 10-9, 10-9. Tete's well ahead. Then all of a sudden, the 4th and 5th, I give to a lion. So then I said, you know what? Let me type these guys' name in and let me score the rest. Let me score this fight. This is getting interesting. And I'll tell you something. This kid can fight. This kid can fight a little bit. It's funny because usually when you see southpaws, they're kind of like slick and they box a lot. This kid is a grinder. Like, he gets down, he bobs and weaves his way inside. And the thing about it is when he comes up, a lot of times guys will come up and they'll punch when they come up. He'll come up and then he'll leap in with that right hook. Like, remember Shane Mosley used to have that little half step where he'd jump in and throw that little short left hook like that?
Yeah.
And he got Sugar Ray Robinson back in the day. Obviously, I saw clips on YouTube. He used to do that same move. This kid has that little slick move, that little sneaky right hook, because he's a southpaw. And he like when he comes up, he'll stop and he'll just like leap in with that that short right hook. And it's just kind of a surprise punch. It's hard to really time that. Because Tete is a really good counterpuncher, and Tete's jab was on point, man. His jab was on point. First 3 rounds kept it at a distance, but then, like I said, Aloyan was getting underneath the jab, and he was kind of stopping, and he's that little quick little leap in. Hard to defend against that. But Tete, to his credit, you know, he's a real dynamic fighter because he throws just a wide array of punches. He throws a lot of variation of punches. Like, you know, you see a guy when they throw like an overhand right, they taught to like open the book. It's called opening the book. So you open it and you like boom. You don't lift your elbow up like high because it turns into an out punch. But when you throw like an over the top punch, an over the top, you know, left hand or over the top right hand, whether you're southpaw or orthodox, you know, you open your arm up and you just like you do it quick. You go. You just can't even really see it like because the move is like the elbow is like at a 90-degree angle. Tete is funny because when he does that with the left hand, he doesn't open the book. He kind of creaks it open and just sticks the bookmark in there just enough to, you know, he throws it like from the side. So he'll be like this and he'll just throw those sneaky punches. And, you know, he's able to really get the guy, you know, in that little area that a fighter will think he's defending himself really well. But, you know, we have that little space between like the shoulder and the wrist is there. And Tete he's just such a sharpshooter. He can really squeeze off those shots, man. And he's a really accurate, dangerous guy. You know, throws those looping shots from up and underneath. And, you know, he has a very awkward style, but his punches are very crisp, sharp, and precise. And just from the trajectory that he throws them at, it's hard to even see these punches coming. This guy is a dynamo in there. But I thought this fight was somewhat competitive. I had it 115 and 110 for Tete. I would have given the 11th round to Aloyan, but because the referee was taking points away, you know, it was a 9-9 round. But it would have been a one if no points were taken away. This fight would have been 116, 112 on 116, 112 on my card. So it was like an 8. I had it like an 8-4 type fight. But like I said, when I saw that guy only had 4 fights, I thought he was going to get waxed, and especially after those first 3 rounds, I thought he was going to get waxed, and he didn't. So this was a good fight.
Yeah, he really stuck with him, and like I said, man, I definitely want to see that guy fight again, man. I mean, after just 4 fights, I mean, 5 if you count last night, but yeah, man, it was crazy. So Tete will advance in the bantamweight division for the World Boxing Super Series. Also on that undercard, Andrew Tabiti versus Ruslan Pfeiffer. Tabiti wins a unanimous decision by the scores of 116-111, 115-112, and 114-113. Beeb, what did you think? Andrew Tabiti is undefeated. What did you think of him in this fight?
You know, I didn't agree with the announcers in this fight at all. I thought Tabiti won this fight 116-111. You know, I gave Favor 4 rounds. But, you know, I thought Tabiti made a lot of adjustments in this fight. You know, Favor is an awkward guy. He has a pretty decent jab, but he throws these loop-in shots from really weird angles, and he's more of a clubber type puncher, whereas Tabiti is a sharp, crisp puncher. And, you know, Tabiti did a lot of different things in this fight. You know, there was times when he would move and he would make Favre try to chase him a little bit. And then there was times when Tabiti would just jump in his chest and he was going to the body. He would throw those little sneaky right hands, you know, up close through the guard, like the 45s. He gave Favre a lot of different looks and he kept them guessing. And when I was watching this fight, I was seeing Tabiti do a lot of different things in there. He was constantly changing the look and he wasn't allowing Favre to get comfortable in any way because Favre wanted to make this an ugly fight. And, you know, sometimes Tabiti would back him up and he would get him in a corner and he would kind of grind it with him, you know, on the inside a little bit. But there were other times when Tabiti would move and he would force Favre to have to come chase him a little bit. And, you know, he was definitely the ring general in this fight. So the announcers were saying, oh, this is a close fight. It's, you know, I don't know if Tabiti's doing enough. But Favre was landing like the clubbing shots, but they weren't clean. Like you could tell Tabiti's shots were the much cleaner, crisper blows. And I liked how Tabiti switched his game up a little bit in this fight, and he just didn't, you know, decide, hey, I'm going to stay out and try to box this guy on the outside. He boxed a little bit. He fought a little bit. He was on the outside. He was on the inside. You know, he grinded up against the ropes when he had to. So I thought this was a pretty well-rounded performance from Tabiti. He didn't get the knockout, but I thought he got Favre's attention a few times. And, Favre was awkward. He landed some shots too, but I just thought Beeb did the better work in there. And he was definitely controlling this fight. And this fight was fought on his terms for the most part. But it wasn't easy. But some of these rounds that, that he won, he nicked them. He did just enough to win them, but he still won them, and those clean shots were what won him the close rounds, in my opinion. So I thought this was a good performance from him. I don't agree with the announcers. Oh, this was a razor close fight. One judge had it 114, 113. I just didn't see that. I thought Beeb, clearly won the fight.
All right, good deal. All right, also on DAZN, Lewis Ritson versus Francesco Patera. Patera shocks Lewis Ritson with a split decision, 116-112 twice, and 116-112 for Ritson. Beeb, were you shocked by this? I was pretty surprised. Judging on the look
on
his face, he was pretty surprised.
Favorite. He was a huge favorite going in, Ritson.
Yeah, and I tell you what, and I didn't score the fight. I saw the fight, but from the looks of it, I thought that Ritson won, but honestly, it could have went either way.
I had it a draw.
Patera really came on. I mean, he really came on at the end, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I could not. You can't. It's one of those fights where whatever they said, hey, that's what happened. What a fight, man! And where does Ritson go from here? Do you think there's a rematch? Do you think? There'll
be a rematch. There should be a rematch. I found myself saying to myself yesterday, what if Patera could punch a little bit? He may have stopped Ritson, because in the second half of the fight, they were saying that Ritson never went past the 7th round, and he was tired. Ritson's not a fast guy. He's not a really dynamic fighter. He kind of reminds me of an Antonio Margarito. Antonio Margarito used to jab, and he would try to work his way in and rough his opponent up close, like really dig to the body. He liked to fight inside. He liked to stalk. He liked to walk guys down. Ritson was doing that in this fight, but the thing was he had a chase. And I think that was tiring him out a little bit. That he had to try to find Patera. Like, Patera kept moving, and he kept making him chase him a little bit. And Patera would be up against the ropes, and he was catching some shots, but he was blocking them too. He was rolling them. So it looked like he was getting beat up, but he was holding his own. He was doing just enough to kind of hold on. And I said to myself, what's he doing? But maybe that was part of the plan. Maybe he tried to tire Ritson out and really come on in the second half of the fight. And because you saw the second half of this fight was a lot different than the first half. It was like night and day. And maybe that was part of the plan. Maybe that's what he wanted to do.
Do you think you saw something in Ritson's last fights or something like that said, hey, this guy drags a little bit coming in the second half of the fight?
He definitely felt as though he could take him into the deep waters and kind of wear him down. I think that could be the case. Yeah, I think that could be the case, definitely. Because on my scorecard, I gave Patera the 10th, 11th, and 12th, and I gave him the 6th, 7th, and 8th, and then Ritson won the 9th. So second half of this fight, rounds 6 through 12, I gave Patera 1, 2, 3, 4. I gave six of the last. Let me see here. Well, I gave him 5 of the last 6. So yeah, he really came on. I think Ritson really slowed down in the second half of this fight. So I think he came out strong. I gave Ritson the first 5 rounds, and then I gave Patera 6, 7, and 8, and then I gave Ritson 9, and then I gave Patera 10, 11, and 12. So, this was definitely a story of 2 fights, without question. And I think Patera knew what he was doing in there.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about Joshua Buatsi versus Tony Averlant. Buatsi just demolished him in the first round via KO. Now, Beeb, you talked about Buatsi prior to coming on here. What's your, because you had some criticism of him. I think that he's a good prospect. Maybe they're taking him a little bit too slow. but you had some criticisms of him, I guess, for his opponents.
Well, yeah, I mean, these guys like this. His last two opponents had a combined 24 losses. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing in there, and you know, he's only got like 8 or 9 fights. I get that. He's definitely a really dynamic puncher, but these guys are really, really hyping him up. So I want to pump the brakes on him a little bit. Like he's doing really well now, but let's not just anoint him too early. That's my only concern. You know, I don't want the guy to get pumped up so much, and then you know when then what we like to do is when he's in there with a tough guy and he doesn't blow him out of there, then everyone starts dumping on him. I don't want to see the guy get set up to fail. You know,
right? Yeah, that makes sense. All right. And that was it for this weekend. Let's go to the upcoming fights here. Let's see what's on tap for next weekend. Robert.
Yep.
All right. Let's see here. October 18th, ESPN2. That's a Thursday or is that a Friday?
That's a Thursday, yes.
All right. From Indio, California. ESPN2. Jason Quigley versus Freddie Hernandez, 10 rounds middleweights. Eddie Gomez versus Shoki Sakai, 8 rounds welterweights. Yeah, we can read the first couple names and know that this is a golden boy because nobody else is putting this card on. I tell you that. That's for sure. Yeah. Just awful cards. Just terrible. Now, October 20th, which would be Saturday, Las Vegas on ESPN+. Ryota Murata versus Rob Brandt, 12 rounds for Murata's WBA regular middleweight title. I hate the WBA. They have so many belts there. They have so many belts.
The WBA is a fucking idiot.
I agree.
I like Rob Brandt. I like Rob Brandt in that fight, by the way.
Wow, look at that. All right. Now, in Boston on DAZN, Demetrius Andrade versus Walter. You guys are going to have to help me out here. Katandakwa?
I can't.
I don't know.
Wasn't he supposed to fight Billy Joe Saunders?
He was. And funny you mentioned that. We'll get to that in just a minute. Demetrius Andrade versus Walter Katandakwa. I don't know. Walter. We're going to call him Walter K. Special K, we'll call him.
Are you going to the fight, Steve?
I would have. I think if it was Billy Joe Saunders, I don't know if I want to go. I'll probably stay and watch it on the zone. I would have. I mean, I'm not excited about the card as much as I was beforehand. Obviously,
no. I mean, yeah. I mean, how do you get excited for that? It was Demetrius Andrade versus Saunders, but how do you get excited over that? You can't. Can't even get excited.
And Andre has he's not an entertaining style to begin with, so I don't know. People are going to be bored to tears if they don't know boxing when they go to see this.
Well, the thing about Andre too is if you don't make him fight, he's not going to fight. Like if you don't press him. So I don't know too much about this guy. He's fighting. We'll see. But Billy Joe Saunders would have stepped to him at points in the fight. That's why the fight would have been interesting, in my opinion. But we'll see what this guy does.
Yeah.
Read on, Eric.
All right. Katie Taylor versus Cindy Serrano, 10 rounds for Taylor's WBO and IBF women's lightweight title. Robert, you excited about that one?
Good for Katie. Yeah, good for Katie.
I think that's going to be a good fight. Cindy Serrano, one of the Serrano. Wow. Look at you, Robert. Yeah. You are such a sexist. Such a sexist.
No, I said good for Katie.
But you said it. You didn't. Beeb, was it just me or was that like condescending?
A little condescending.
It was a little condescending.
He won't give these girls a break. It's just
he won't, man. He won't give them a break at all, man. Wow.
12 rounds, 36 minutes, brother.
Oh, how dare you?
He's never gonna let them slide with that 2-minute round stuff.
Nope. That's right.
Right.
And they go 10 rounds for title fights. Really? 20 minutes instead of 36? Okay.
Wow, you're such a sexist pig. Tevin Farmer versus James Tennyson, 12 rounds for Farmer's IBF junior lightweight title. Scott Quigg on the undercard versus Mario Briones, 8 rounds. Go figure that one out. He's fighting
Scott
8 rounds
Quigg,
now.
8 rounds? Come on, Scott. Really?
8 rounds.
What happens?
I know. Also on DAZN this weekend from lovely, sunny Orlando, Florida, Emmanuel Rodriguez versus Jason Maloney, 12 rounds for Rodriguez's IBF Bantamweight title. This is part of the World Boxing Super Series quarterfinals. And also on the undercard, Junior Dorticos versus Matusz Masternak, 12 rounds, cruiserweights, World Boxing Super Series quarterfinals as well. Let's see if there's anything else. From Brentwood, England, there is no television on this one. Anthony Yard versus Walter Gabriel Sekira. You might be able to catch that on Box Nation or Sky or one of those guys. Let's see what else. Gary Corcoran also on that undercard. And that's it for the weekend. Let's talk about this, the fight of the week as far as I'm concerned.
Before we go into that, Eric, I got a dumb question. Why are they still having a cruiserweight suit?
Yeah, I don't understand that either.
When Usyk already won all the titles.
You know what? I agree with you. I don't understand it either. I don't know why they put the cruiserweights in there.
I don't get it.
But if you look at the bracket, it's a pretty good line of cruiserweights. I mean, there's some pretty good fighters in there. I don't hate it. Put it that way.
But what are they going to win?
Well, they're gonna win the right to fight Usyk, I guess.
They're going to win second best. That's what they're going to win, because we know they're not the best. I mean, because they've already been in there. So
I don't get that.
I don't get it either. But hey, it's fun because there's a lot of good names in it.
Okay.
All right. So Emmanuel Rodriguez versus Jason Maloney, 12 rounds for Rodriguez, bantamweight title, the IBF bantamweight title. I like Rodriguez a lot. I think it's I can't wait if him and Inoue, I don't know if they're lined up. I can't remember if that's the case or not. But if him and Inoue are lined up, my gosh, can you imagine that fight?
That
can't
should
wait.
be the finals, those two.
I agree. And then let's see here. Let's talk about Andrade. It was going to be Andrade Saunders, Andrade versus Walter K. Andrade should have no problems. I don't know who Walter K is.
I don't either.
No,
Never heard of him. He's a late substitution. And he's a late substitution because, as we go to our news and rumors section here, Billy Joe Saunders was denied a license. All right. So, Beeb, this is, I largely place this at your feet. I put this on your doorstep, Beeb, because it happened in your hometown. Stuff like this, I'm going to tell you right now, does not go on in Titletown. In Titletown, we fight. You call out the name, we're going to fight, Beeb. That's the way it is. That's the way we do things in Ohio.
We have zero tolerance for any positive drug tests here in Massachusetts. That's the way it is. That's just the way it is. We're like Vegas. We're right lock in step with Vegas right now.
Saunders was denied a license to fight in Massachusetts because of the positive drug test he had. The fight with Demetrius Andrade is now off. And Saunders has voluntarily given up the WBO title. Now, he voluntarily gave up the title, but in reality, they were going to strip him. That was the case. So he was going to give it up. It's kind of like, you're going to be fired, so you can either quit or just be fired.
So wait a minute. Does Andrade, is this a title elimination thing here?
No, it's for the vacant title, brother.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Then he's suing the Massachusetts State Athletic Commission. He wants to take it to the Supreme Court because of WADA. But he doesn't understand that the commission trumps everybody. The commission gives you the license. Okay? They trump the sanctioning body, they trump WADA, they trump friggin' VADA. Okay, all VADA does is report to the commission. The commission takes the findings and they make a decision on what they want to do. That's up to them. So you don't got a leg to stand on.
So I agree with all that, Beeb, but this is for the WBO title now. This fight is for the WBO title.
Yeah, he's gone. They stripped him.
Vacant WBO middleweight title. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Walter K, son.
What do you want him? What do you want him to do? What do you want him to do with the title? They stripped him.
I don't know. Look, I don't mind him being stripped, but if you're going to make a title fight, then put somebody in there that people have heard of, for God's sakes.
Well, that's how these you know how the sanctioning bodies are with their rankings.
I know.
Who's Sean Porter's mandatory?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know.
I don't think anyone knows. And when the name gets announced, I don't think anyone will still know.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my. Okay, Eric, this is turning from bad to worse here.
Well, you know, again, man, I kind of lay this at Beeb's feet. You know, I know Georgie, who lives there also. Georgie, I'm sure, is opposed to this whole thing and wanted the fight to go on. But Beeb, you're responsible for this.
I can't believe. You know, maybe if he actually was able to give them the inhaler and show them this is what I took, then maybe they could cut him some slack. But instead, what did he tell them? They called him. You know what he told them? He told them to go fuck off. You don't tell the athletic commission.
That's what he did too. That's what he did.
The athletic commission's going to give you a license. They called you. They're giving you the benefit of the doubt. They want to hear your side of the story.
They called him up and told him, and his response on a conference call was "suck it." You know, it was something of that effect. Yeah, you can kind of put in the words.
So if you can't provide the supplement you were taking that you think may have had the substance in it, or the inhaler, like you said, or not the inhaler, excuse me, the nasal spray. I've never heard of oxylifrin in any nasal spray. Okay, maybe when you take like decongestant medicine, you can see you probably find pseudoephedrine in there, which is very weak stimulant, and not like the real ephedra, but they don't put oxylifrin in medicine, to my knowledge. It's illegal to even put in a supplement in the United States. So where you got this nasal spray, tell us what the name of the nasal spray is so we can Google it. Show it to people that you were using it. Hey, this is what I was using. But no, you didn't. So you don't have a leg to stand on. You can't defend yourself. You have no evidence to defend yourself.
Yeah, I think the bottom line is obviously he cheated. You know, I don't think there's any, I don't think anybody's sitting around wondering. He cheated. He cheated.
And what kind of rule is that WADA has in competition?
That's
the stupidest thing.
That's common because, like they have in competition and out of competition for I think it's like recreational drugs and that kind of thing. I think they have it for that.
Yeah, but not for a fucking stimulant, Eric.
Obviously like cocaine and stuff like that,
Not for a stimulant though, Eric.
No, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I hear you. So this is a pretty big deal, and I just tweeted this out. I tweeted this out a little while ago and just retweeted it now. Saunders versus Bursick on April 30th. I've got this picture this guy put together, and it says Saunders versus Bursick on April 30th, canceled. Saunders Kurtzidi, canceled. Saunders Murray, canceled. Saunders Andrade, canceled. 4 cancellation. How does this, impact Saunders moving forward? If you're a promoter, if you're his promoter, or if you're any promoter out there, do you?
Frank Warren is his promoter.
I know who his promoter is, Robert. What I'm saying is, if you're a promoter, is there any way you keep this guy around?
No.
He's a hard sell. It's definitely a hard sell. So he's going to be an even harder sell after this.
You put all your money, all your time into this guy.
Waste of talent too.
Yeah, that's the other thing. But you put a lot of money into promoting a fight. With all the media, all the getting things together, the posters, everything like that, the site dates, everything, the venues, you put, and then the marketing, which is probably one of the bigger parts to it. You put all this together, and you got a guy here who is now withdrawn, canceled from 4 fights. 4. And this is like a very quick time frame.
Is this fight going to be at TD Garden?
Yes.
Oh my God. The Garden has to be furious.
Yeah, it doesn't say. Yeah, I'm taking Beeb's word for it. I
think it's the TD Garden.
Yeah, I'm sure it's TD Garden. That's where they are all at.
I don't know where else it would be.
Because that's where the UFC goes, isn't it?
Sometimes, yeah. It's been there before. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, and how does this impact him moving forward? I mean, if I'm a fighter, if I'm a bigger champion, if I'm a Canelo, I'm thinking like twice about fighting this guy now, not because of his skill set, but because, will we make it to fight day?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of time and energy to waste to not make it to fight day for him to pull out.
Yeah. Oh.
So if you're a promoter, you're thinking twice. If you're a big time fighter, you're thinking twice.
Yeah, it's at the TD Garden, it says. Yeah, it is at the TD Garden.
How about David Lemieux, man? How do you think he feels now? Was this guy cheating when he fought me?
Never know. Never know.
You got to think probably. I mean, you got to think probably. So, I don't know. I know Victor Conte came out and cut a promo on Billy Joe Saunders saying that, he shouldn't fight this and that. But Victor Conte's a cheat too. So I don't listen to him either.
My problem with Saunders is he went on this tirade about Canelo. What about you? Like he wanted Canelo banned for life. He still to this day calls him a cheater. Tony Bellew, Canelo's a cheater. But then when they asked him about Saunders, I know Billy Joe. I don't think he did it. He's not a cheat. It's like, come on, man.
He's had a lot of trouble. He's had a lot of trouble in the past couple of months. I mean,
the whole shocking thing about this is Demetrius Andrade is now going to be a world champion.
What's wrong with that? He's a good fighter. You don't think he's a good fighter?
I think he's a good fighter, but he's a tough sell also.
He is.
In what way? Just the fact that he's not very marketable in the sense that like he's not very charismatic,
he's not marketable, and he doesn't really cooperate with promotions very well.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have a title belt, and how do you move the guy forward? I mean, like for example, if Oscar wanted to use him for a Canelo fight, it'd be very difficult to do that with.
Oh no, he'd fight Canelo in a second. Problem with him is he just wants to get paid, and that's the thing. He wants to get paid, and if he's in a big money fight, he'll take it. Like he's been wanting to fight Canelo. He just wants to get paid. This kid. Right. He took the Saunders fight. So I mean,
I don't know. He's a decent fighter, but him as a champion, I don't.
Well, he sits on the shelf for a long time, but that's because he never really had a promoter. Let's see what Eddie could do with him. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt.
Well, yeah, we'll see. Because in the worst thing about Saunders is, as a middleweight, he's one of the best ones out there. I mean, he really is. Talent wise, I mean, I don't know that you can argue with that.
Yeah.
Does he beat Canelo? I don't know, but is it plausible? Yeah.
Could he beat Canelo? Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, could he have beaten Could he beat Triple G? Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
It's a big letdown.
Well,
it really is.
Well, now Eddie's going to have a built-in title defense automatic because Andrade will win this fight this week. Jacob should win his fight next week. You can see Jacobs fighting Andrade for a unification thing.
Yeah.
We'll see.
There you go. All right. We're going to go to the phone here. Area code 706. And you guys know what that means.
He's a fucking mental case is what he is.
Oh, wow.
What makes you guys think that Billy Joe Saunders could beat Canelo? What the fuck has that bum ever done in his life that makes you think that, Eric?
You've ever seen him box? You ever seen him box?
Yeah, I've seen him box. Against who?
Classic middleweight. Canelo's moving up in weight. David Lemieux.
Who? Lemieux?
Yeah.
Did you miss the fight that Lemieux lost on Chavez versus Canelo's undercard to some Mexican fucking journeyman? Did they rob the journeyman? They fucking lost to some journeyman. What are you talking about?
How to Win Friends and Influence People by Jason.
Marco Antonio. Hey, Beeb, did you watch the Lemieux versus Marco Antonio Reyes fight on the Canelo Chavez card? Did you watch it, Robbie? He lost that fight.
I watched that.
Didn't they rob that Mexican kid? Didn't they rob him?
I thought it was more competitive than what the judges had it.
Also, that's the same Mexican that Chavez lost to, and they robbed him in Texas also. So that kid has beaten Chavez and Lemieux. This fucking Eric is talking about he could beat Canelo. Canelo would knock that bum out in less than 8 fucking rounds. What are you talking about?
Not proof.
Lemieux has
not proof. You're just speculating. You're speculating, son. You have absolutely no proof on it. You're just speculating, son.
You fucking pick
You're
Chris
speculating.
To beat
you have no idea.
The WBFS. What are you talking
and he
about?
almost did. And he almost did, you moron.
A lot of people picked Chris.
Yeah, a lot of people picked it. And not to mention, you had Groves.
Morons, baby. A lot of morons that watch Instagram workout videos.
Jason, the way it looks
Jason had Groves to win the Super Series, and he lost too. So what do you care?
I know that Rocky's a fucking total bum, but I'm saying like Lemieux would give
He's
Canelo no
bum.
fucking troubles. That guy's like belly's hanging over his shorts and shit. That's how shot of shape he is. I've never seen a fucking 160-pounder that fucking fat. And look at his speed, dude. He has like fucking wet feet or some shit. Like his feet are like pointing inwards. Like he can't even move right. This fucking sucks. This guy really sucks.
Oh my god.
He didn't do anything all
Right.
night.
I'm sure
anybody could say he could beat Canelo.
I'm sure you can get in there and smash Billy Joe Saunders.
What does that have to do with me saying
that he's a bum?
And I don't
What does that have to do with you saying he's a bum?
He lost to Marco Antonio Reyes. You don't even know who that bum is. That just proves my point.
Billy Joe Saunders lost to him? Billy Joe Saunders lost to him.
What?
Did you say Billy Joe Saunders lost to him?
Lemieux lost to him.
We're not talking about Lemieux, son. Anyway, all right, let's move forward here because this is a fascinating topic to me. All right, so let's move forward here. Let me ask you a couple questions here because Jason has debuted on Twitter.
I'm not done yet. I'm not done. You can ask me when I'm done. I'm not done yet.
You can be done right now if you want to get that way. So let me ask you a couple questions here.
Canelo versus GGG
all right.
pay-per-view card, that fucking old fucking
area code 760. You're live. That's what happens. That's what happens.
Hey, Brian, what's up? I'm glad we cut him off.
Yeah, you know, listen, hang on, Brian. Hang on for 1 second, Brian. So again, like, you know, if I ask you a question, you know, just answer the question. I was going to let you talk. He didn't want to talk. He wanted to do his own. Listen, you don't run the show here, son. I run the show here. So, you know, we were going to give you your time and everything like that. Hey, I'm just going to ask you a couple questions. It's the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, you can't.
You want to go and cry.
Can't say things.
You can't just run the show here, son.
You can't say things, and then when you're asked to follow up on what you like you just can't say, "Oh, the Earth is flat." Well, why is the Earth like? You have to come up with fucking why you said the Earth is flat. You can't just spew. You got to be held accountable for the things you say. You got to explain yourself.
You want your own show? Pay Blog Talk and get your own show. Okay.
Right. All right, Brian. Go ahead.
Sorry, Brian.
Hey, that's crazy. I don't even know what happened. I just dialed the number right now.
Okay,
I know. He just comes into this. Yeah, he just comes into this.
Hey, Rob, where the best callers come from, man?
Hey, California.
Ohio, son.
That's right. Say it with me. Eric, I'm actually out here in Ohio in your hood right now, but hey, man, that was a pretty good fight. I just want to talk about the Terence Crawford Benavidez fight. That was a good fight last night. You know what I'm saying? But man, when we gonna get down to this Earl Spence with Terence Crawford thing? Get straight.
Brian, I hate to tell you, I think it'll be another year or two before that happens.
It sucks with boxing doing this to us, man. It's like, why they do this to us? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
that's the fight I want to see.
I know, but I have a feeling that it's going to take another year or two because you're going to have to get Bob Arum, the runner of Top Rank, to open Al Heyman's door and start negotiating fights with him. He's going to have to fight people like Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman to earn the privilege to fight Spence. They can't unfortunately just hand him Earl Spence. He's going to have to earn that.
Yeah, you might be right. But that'll be a good fight. You know, that's like the best fight to make in that division because.
No, I know, but because Crawford has been fighting, you know, people like Jose Benavidez and Jeff Horn, you're going to have to get his name out there, and in order to do that, he's gonna have to start fighting people like Garcia, Porter, Thurman, people like that before you can even consider Earl Spence.
Yeah. Because it seems like they want to build it up to like a pay-per-view event. Like,
well, that's exactly
like
what
fight these guys.
That's exactly what's going to happen. We talked about it earlier in the show. When this fight does take place, it will be on pay-per-view, just like Wilder and Fury are going to be. That's where this fight is headed.
Yeah.
Can I say something real quick here though? Let me jump in here real quick. All right, so why does Crawford have to earn Spence? Why doesn't Spence have to earn Crawford? Because right now, I'll be honest, I think that Crawford is the more popular fighter.
Well, Eric,
yeah.
I agree with you, but I don't know what Al Heyman and company are doing with Spence. They gave him a soft hometown title defense, and there has been no negotiations on who he's going to fight next.
Yeah, but that was his mandatory. That wasn't a soft title defense. That was his mandatory. And he can't really get out of that. That wasn't like a voluntary.
I call it a hometown title defense because that's what it was.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Well, look at Spence's last defense, Robert. I mean, come on.
We already knew who was going to win this fight. How many fights we going to watch where we know who's going to win this fight? You know what I'm saying? Like, how many of these fights we got to watch? Because the dudes that's up there, they don't want to fight Earl Spence. They don't want to fight Terence Crawford. Then Terence Crawford and Earl Spence ain't going to fight each other. It's like, man, come on, man. As a fan, I'm starting to get extremely impatient. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
When it comes to these big fights.
Unfortunately, and I hope I'm wrong, but I could see this being drug out for quite a while because we don't know who Spence is going to fight next. Now that Crawford got rid of Benavidez, we don't know who he's going to fight next. Unfortunately, I could see this being drug out a while.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. I mean, boxing, boxing it's not like the biggest popular sport. You know what I'm saying? It's like the only way to make it popular and the bigger is to get some action, get these fights going. You know what I'm saying? It's always going to be dudes underneath that, that can start coming up. But, I mean, they got to get the ball rolling, man, because it's like, we ain't got that much patience with fans, man. I'm like, okay, if it's the end of next year, that's cool. But to drag it out longer than that, people are going to lose interest, and that's going to be it, Yeah.
I don't know because Eric and Beeb, you're both on the internet a whole lot more than I am. I mean, what have you heard about Spence? Have you heard anything about
nothing?
Fight?
No, I haven't heard anything about it. I mean, I thought that I thought he was going to fight Porter next.
Yeah.
But like I said, man, I mean, this fight,
Oh man, you knew that wasn't good, Eric. You knew that was not going to happen. You knew John Porter ain't going to fight no Earl Spence. But he said he don't have an opponent. I just read it a couple of days ago. He needs an opponent. Like,
no, and I hear you because the fight hasn't been made. But the thing is like I said, I mean, if you're talking about like Crawford and Spence, man, I want to see the fight now. I think it could happen now. But like I said, from a promotional standpoint, it's just not ready yet. It's just not.
No.
I mean, nobody's going to pay for that fight.
But when it comes to promotional standpoint, they're always going to be opposite of us. It's just we got to be the ones to want it.
I agree.
And then, because all three of you guys are important. You know what I'm saying? Your voice is important. So all these fools can make these fights happen because if we keep going along with these promoters, all it's going to do is cause boxing to lose more and more fans. You know what I'm saying? Because people lose interest. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's going to stick around besides hardcore fans to wait on that. Like, let's get it going because they can get that going and then get something else, on the back burner of that. Boxing is going to keep moving no matter what. You know what I'm saying? But
right.
It's like it's so long, all these fights. I hate it, man. I hate it.
Well, unfortunately, this is the business side of boxing, and unfortunately, I could see it being drug out for quite a while, and God, I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, it sucks, man. It sucks. Like, you know who else I wanted to talk about was Forrest Stevenson, man. What you guys feel about him? Because I think he's improved a lot. You know, on his power. Everybody was saying he didn't have no power. I think he's improved on that a lot. You know.
I think he looked great. Yeah, I think he looked bigger. I thought he looked great. I really do, and I thought his power had come along. And he's fast. That's the thing, man. He's fast. You don't know, you know. I think he's fast. People don't see those punches coming. And now you couple power with it. He's sitting down more on his punches. He's a good fighter. He's going to be really good. And I think Andre Ward, you know, Beeb said that Andre Ward said, we're going to move him slower than he wants to be.
Yeah, I'm the one.
And that's okay.
Last night.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, to me, that's the best part.
Yeah, because he's still young and, you know, just bring him along, you know, at a crawl for right now. You know, that way, whenever he's ready, he all the way ready. Because he definitely got potential, man. He definitely got potential.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, man, that's all I really wanted to get off my chest, man. You know, about this Crawford and Earl Spence thing, and Forrest Stevenson looking a lot better. I don't even know what that was. Of course, you know, you guys let me on, but hey, man, thank you guys for having me.
All right.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, Eric, no, I totally agree with you. I'd like to see the fight now, but I could just see them dragging this sucker out.
Yeah, I can too. In fact, I think that's what's going to happen. Because, you know, Spence, like I said, man, Spence just, I kind of get the feeling that, and maybe I'm wrong here, that just Crawford is the guy as far as like, not fan base necessarily, but as far as people knowing who he is. I think he's just promoted a little bit better than Spence.
But, you know, I think when they do fight, I think it should be in Dallas. I think you put that in Jerry.
Oh, can you imagine how awesome that would be?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about that one? All right. We're going to bring him back on, and he promises to play nice. Jason, 706, you're live.
You want to ask the question, or you want me to go ahead first? You want to ask me the question?
I am going to ask you the question, yes. All right, so Jason, Beeb, you know that Jason's on Twitter now?
Yes.
And what is your handle, Jason, so everybody knows and they can follow you?
Or not?
I don't even know what the fuck. Hold on.
All right, never
Boxing
mind.
Junkie, but I don't know if that's my exact handle. Go ahead.
All right, anyway, Boxing Junkie. So, okay, so within the past, so he's got on there this week, correct? You've been on there for about 1 week now. Within the past 7 days, Jason has managed to get banned by Dan Raphael and Steve Kim and make a lot of enemies in the process. Jason, what are you doing on Twitter? What are you doing?
My Twitter handle is B Junkie with 3 Y's. All right. So I sent Wait, let me say this before I go there. You were saying Spence is this Crawford is a
he still doesn't answer it. Go ahead.
Well, I am. Let me just be while we're talking. Can you pull up Crawford's New York tick sales and Vegas sales, and then pull up Spence's sales? Because I want to just show the numbers, because Eric always just makes things up, you know. Go ahead. And I was going to answer that. Yeah. What was that question again, Eric? What was I doing on Twitter?
What are you doing on Twitter, getting banned by all these guys?
I was having Dan Raphael tweeted that he was at a bar having drinks with a top rank family. I was like, I tweeted, this is what's wrong with boxing. People that are supposed to be covering promoters are having fucking drinking sessions with the people they're supposed to cover. And he blocked me. And Steve Kim, I think he blocked me because I said Spence had 2 fights this year, just like Mikey and Wilder will have 2 fights this year. So what's this? Why do you keep saying nobody on PBC fights more than once a year? And he blocked me for that because I fucking kind of destroyed his agenda that he was trying to push. And also, Robbie, you were saying off the hometown defense. That was a mandatory, you know?
Well, I know it was mandatory, but it was a hometown.
Yeah, so IBF picked that, not Heyman. IBF picked that, right? Not Heyman.
That's what we just said.
When you fucking win a belt, they win a mandatory, right? So why would you say Heyman gave him a soft hometown defense? Why would you say that?
We corrected that though.
The kid didn't belong in there. Come on.
But IBF put in there, not the fucking Heyman. It wasn't even a Heyman fighter. Why would Heyman put him in there? That was some Zanifur fighter. But I'm just saying also, compare that to the guy that had the belt before Spence won it. That fucking guy in Britain, Kell Brook. He fought Jojo Dan, Frankie Gavin, and Kevin Bizier in 3 straight defenses at fucking home. Compare that to what Spence did after he beat him.
Crawford Horn had an attendance of 8,112.
That was in Las Vegas.
Well, hey, Beeb, can you also look up Crawford Diaz in New York? Because I know that was also 7,000. Because Spence sold 12,000, almost 13,000 in Barclays. That's not even his home, and he sold 14,000 in Dallas. So if we're gonna say he's a bigger star, let's just bring the numbers up, you know.
Well, they were both on the Breakfast Club, so that means they're stars, no?
I want to give credit to Crawford for the big win last night, but also,
right.
Let's not forget the Alabama game helped him because the biggest rating they got was from Alabama, just like Spence was helped by that Olympic game. So if we're gonna say Spence got that 6 million because of the Olympics, let's say he got 2.5 million because of that big Alabama game. So let's not cherry pick how we're gonna give credit. All right, that's what my point is. Go ahead.
Okay, Jason.
We stand corrected, Jason. Thank you so much.
Jason,
This is why he's the executive producer.
It wasn't even close.
Hey, B, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I just said thank you for letting us know that.
Yeah.
Did you find the New York numbers? Beeb, did you find the
Terence Cross,
Diaz? Felix Diaz. From the upper fucking deck at MSG.
Terence Crawford, Felix Diaz. Yeah, I'm looking up that right now, but I can't really find any numbers here.
They only had the lower bowl open. So
I think it was like 8,000 or 9,000 in the Garden.
9? That sounds kind of high.
Because they closed off the upper bowl.
So it's 18,000 total. I guess okay. I thought it was like 16,000.
Errol Spence does do more media than Terence Crawford does, and he goes to Dallas and he
doesn't cooperate with
he does a lot of events in Dallas and stuff. He's better at promoting himself than Terence Crawford is. I think.
But the thing is, you know what? Crawford's on ESPN.
He's got more Instagram followers and Twitter followers also.
And I mean, Crawford's on ESPN, and I think that makes the difference because when you watch ESPN and they're promoting Terence Crawford. Hey, let me tune in. What is this guy about?
For sure.
Can I say something else though, Eric?
I think that's a difference.
I'm gonna say something else that I think Showtime does a better job than ESPN at. Showtime will start the cards at 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
ESPN starting them at 10:30, 11 o'clock. So they're taking them out of prime time. Like they're making mistakes over there, like putting them on the app, putting them on at 10:30, put them on 10:30. The card starts at 10:30. And you don't get to see him till like 12 o'clock. Like,
yeah,
I know.
That's like at least what Showtime's doing a better job because like they'll start the cards earlier and you get to see Errol Spence earlier. And a lot of these people that are on ESPN, they're football fans and stuff. Like people go to Showtime. A lot of people subscribe to Showtime because of the boxing. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. ESPN's definitely a bigger network. There's no question about it. But are the people that are going to ESPN, are they going there to watch fights? And are they going to watch fights at 11 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock at night?
Right. But just think about it, though. Because you think about like ESPN, like you said, that's the sports network.
Yeah, it's the biggest sports network in the world.
Football, everything, and everybody's watching it. And so Crawford may not sell as many tickets, as you talk about. But too, you think about this is that they're not as stacked as PBC is either. They don't have like when Crawford fights, he's got a good undercard underneath him. So when Benavidez or not Benavidez, but
you mean when
Spence fights? I'm sorry, yeah. So when Spence fights, he's got a good undercard underneath him. Crawford, not so much. I mean, he's got like Shakur Stevenson's always on his cards and stuff like that, but nothing crazy. Yeah.
You guys remember when Golden Boy kind of ruined that pay-per-view card? There were no swing bouts, and Bob Arum was so fucking vocal. They were like, this was the worst card ever produced and promoted. Last night, we got one fucking fight, and we got fucking some prospect beating some fucking shitty-ass guy in a 3-round fight, and they gave us nothing else. We were sitting around for an hour. B, what about that? Did you notice that?
That was listen, man, I've always said this. I've always said this about the PBC, and I've been to a lot of their events. When you go there, you sit down at 5:30. And the first fight comes out, and the action does not stop until well after midnight. No matter if on
the televised fight, you get at least 4 fights every time they have a show. 4 fights.
And then even after the televised goes off, even after the television goes off, there's at least 2 more fights.
And then people criticize the PPZ for having like no frills and stuff. And
it's constant movement.
But it's just exactly. It's like they take away all the fluff. And they just give you the fights.
When I was at the HBO card, when I was at the one HBO card that came here, we waited for an hour and a half between fights.
Yeah.
It was awful.
And that's what the UFC does too. I think they got that from the UFC, like how UFC just keeps it moving.
Yeah.
UFC show, So.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
Say like, hey, PBC, they don't care about boxing and shit. Heyman is probably the only guy that's an actual fucking boxing fan. He used to sit in the audience and watch fights. Some Floyd fights, Berto fights, he wouldn't even sit in the front row. He would sit in the third row, like watching like a real fan. And his brother was an actual fighter. And these people fucking smear him about every fucking thing. And let me talk about this. People were talking about on YouTube that Crawford didn't really call out Spence. He should have called him out. But when you sign a fight deal with a promoter, you're pretty much like a slave to him. You have to say, oh, Bob's got to make the fights. And look at guys like Leo Santa Cruz, Mikey, Broner, Spence, and Wilder. They all have their own promotional companies. They're getting a fight check and a promoter's check. That's why these guys like him. And even if they're fighting once or twice a year, they're still making more money. And these guys don't have to say, oh, Al will tell me what to do. But they can't ask Al, yeah, I want this. I want it. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But they don't always have to say, oh, Al will do this or Al will do this. They can fucking be more vocal. These Crawford and fucking Manny, they would always say it's Bob's job to make the fight. That was some bullshit too. He should have said, I want Porter or Spence. I mean, Benavidez is not some Porter or Danny, is he? He's like a level below, right? What do you guys think?
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, doesn't say Crawford need to be calling out Porter or fucking Danny? What? I mean, what are we waiting for?
He's just not that type. He's not that type of fighter, though. He's not the type of fighter who's just going to call a shot like that. I mean, he's called him out on social media. They've gone back and forth on social media. I mean, he knows. I mean, they definitely know each other are there.
They've called each other out before.
Yeah.
But Spence does the same thing. He's like, oh, I can't, if he wants to fight me, he's got to come over here, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is nothing new, man. It's the same old bullshit, right?
Even if he called him out, what does that mean?
Biggest paychecks are on Showtime, aren't they? The biggest Showtime, biggest pay-per-views and all that shit is on Showtime. So
I think Showtime's doing a better job than everyone else, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. And I like the Showtime. I like the Showtime fights better than all the other fights that I've seen so far.
Yeah.
But the Zone put on a good card yesterday.
Crawford was badass.
What's that?
Did you guys like the segment that Kriegel did? I thought it was a really good segment on Crawford.
No, I hate Mark Kriegel. No, I can't stand Mark Kriegel, so no, I didn't like it.
I thought it was kind of corny, but
I thought it was corny too. I thought it's corny too. Because he goes in there and it's always like this human interest piece. I mean, like, I got it. He grew up poor. I got it. His mom didn't like.
I mean, it's the same storyline with just a different. He doesn't. Right. I think he like writes the questions down and he just asks each time he does the segment. He asks the same set of questions to whoever's there. It's like it's the same story. It's like nothing different.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, Beeb, remember last week I said Mayweather Khabib might be next. Did you see Khabib talking to Ellerby? He posted the video.
I saw it. That fight's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Silly. Yeah, it's so
that's
silly.
What people said about the Conor fight, Eric. Stop that shit. That's what they said.
What is he going? What is?
Oh, Jesus!
Will
you stop it,
son?
Please.
What do you think he's going to do? Box him?
Do that fight?
Never.
No.
Of course he would. Khabib said he's ready. Khabib said he wants to do. Why wouldn't Khabib
how are they going to fight? Answer me this. How are they going to fight?
How are they going to fight? What do you mean?
How are they going to fight? Are they going to fight in a cage?
Khabib's not a boxer. He doesn't have a boxing background. He's a wrestler.
Khabib said he's ready to box you more. Did you watch
Oh
him?
my!
Not even a good
so
boxer.
What?
Come on.
He was kidding around.
Right.
He's not going to agree to a boxing match with Mayweather.
That's how the Conor shit started. I'm telling you.
Conor stands up. Khabib
Connor's a striker. He has an amateur boxing
weapon.
Conor standing up. Khabib outstrike Conor. What are we talking about here? He dropped him. He outstruck him.
He outstruck him because he was mauling him.
No, he was outstriking him, then mauling him. He was taking turn.
Yeah, he outstruck him because he got him on the ground and grounded and pounded him.
Robbie just said this is bad.
And also, I was the one who said last week that Manny signed with him, and Beeb was laughing about some spin website and shit. Beeb, see, this is what happens when you don't listen to Daddy. You always get
I'm gonna wait till I get it from a
reputable source. Yeah, reputable.
I'm not gonna jump on it.
Website.
How many times have you jumped on something when it never came to fruition too?
You're
better off just waiting.
Hey, Beeb. Jason was looking for Filipino brides when he ran across that article in that Filipino magazine.
Oh my God.
I was looking for one for Robbie. All right, guys. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
And
I don't understand this kid.
I normally have my phone shut off, but I've got it on this week because we were dealing with fires, and I have to hear for alerts.
Don't worry, you don't have to explain yourself, Robbie. It's okay.
You're an arsonist, dude.
Well,
It's
no,
okay, Robbie.
on K-State.
You can.
Yeah, no, we get it, man. It's all
Don't
good.
worry about it, Robbie. Third, it's all right.
We gotcha.
Okay.
No one's gonna yell at you.
Yeah. I'm just saying it's interrupting the show, but what do I care,
I know.
I mean, what are we trying to do here?
No,
That wasn't on the show notes, but we'll slip it in.
Yeah, right. Yeah, whatever. I mean, yeah, it's just interrupting the flow of the show, but hey, leave your phone off. Doesn't matter.
You can break that third wall anytime you want, Robbie. Don't worry about it.
No, hey, guys, I normally have it off. So.
Robert, we know. Everything's good.
Yeah. All right.
We're ribbing you. We're ribbing you. That's all it is.
I know.
Just so you know, Robert, I turned off my microwave in the kitchen. That's not going to go off while we're doing the show. And the refrigerator, I made sure that no one's going to use the ice maker, so we'll be fine.
All right. Beeb, before we go back to the phones, I've been told that we have to clear out the rooms because Georgie apparently is going to go pretty deep on his next call. So before we get to Georgie,
oh my God, here we go.
Beeb, it's time. We're going to bring in Elena for the train wreck of the week.
Yep. He's going to talk about the mafia.
Hang on.
Robert, please. You're killing the train wreck.
Got a star here,
Right,
and you're talking. It's my daughter. How dare you speak over her?
Ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. You have the floor now, Elena. Robert's just giving you the go ahead. All right. You ready?
Chugga, 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 choo, choo.
Look at that. That was beautiful.
Awesome.
Unbelievable. Unbelievably good. She has the voice of an angel, just like her father. All right. Train wreck of the week this week. Deontay Wilder breaks a mascot's jaw. Completely assaulted him. Deontay Wilder appeared on Nacion ESPN, a show on the Latin ESPN channel. They wanted to do a segment where he takes a punch at a mascot. Wilder threw a punch at the mascot. A hard right-hand shot, and the mascot fell flat. Turns out the mascot was reported to have a broken jaw, but this has not been substantiated. Wilder claims that it was Wilder claimed that he knew it was human because reports surfaced. This is why we talked about the spin article last week about Manny Pacquiao signing with the PBC and how we weren't going to say, hey, yes or no. This is why. Because reports surfaced that Wilder said that he didn't know it was human. He thought it was a robot or something like that. He didn't know. Wilder claims that he knew it was a human under the mascot, under the mascot gown or whatever, or the costume. But knowing this, why on earth would you punch him that hard? Beeb, did you see this video?
Jason says because the Mexican announcers told him to do it. Yeah, but they didn't think he was going to wind up full strength and hit him
like that. Right. No, he thought he was going to haul him, smash him. Did you see it?
He swung on that guy like he stole something.
Right. It was insane.
Jason's like, yeah, they told him to do it. Yeah, but they didn't tell him to wind up from left field and take the guy's head. Mother of God.
Yeah, I'm like, what in the world? He hit that guy hard. He hit him real hard.
Medical bills and get it over with.
Well,
the guy can't even eat for like 6 weeks.
Well, that's the other thing is that they said some people ran with the story and said that the guy had a broken jaw and this and that. Apparently, the guy didn't have a broken jaw, or at least the company or ESPN is now coming out and saying no. They didn't have a broken jaw. So, all right. So I tell you what, if you go to my Twitter now, which is at Ringside73, I just retweeted the video. You can watch this guy. Oh, jeez. He hit him hard, man. I'm watching this now. And he put a shot. He leaned into that punch. He hit him hard.
Yeah.
So they said they came out and said he's not injured. He doesn't have a broken jaw. He got hit hard. I don't know, man, but he got hit. But that's another reason why we don't report on everything, or we don't say yay or nay. We tell you, hey, it's not been substantiated or not rumors. Turns out the guy didn't have a broken jaw. Turns out, you know, I mean, Wilder knew that it was a guy in a costume, not a robot. Because that was the other thing that Wilder said. He wasn't sure that it was a robot. If it was a robot or a guy in a costume, he wasn't sure. He didn't know.
How can it be a robot?
How can it be a robot? Right. I mean,
I don't get that one.
I don't get that one either. But
Seems
yeah,
like
I mean,
he can break his hand, man.
yeah, right. So there you go. All right, Georgie, I've cleared everyone out of the room. It's just us now.
From this day, you'll be my new fool.
Georgie, 508.
What's happening, people?
All right, what's
up,
happening?
kid? What's going on?
What you said? He's going
What's
deep.
going on?
He's going deep.
I gotta go deep on Robbie now because I told me I'm
Oh.
on the same team.
Oh,
What's going on, Robbie? I thought we were cool.
Well, I thought you were going to come in here and talk about how the fight was fixed and, you know, all this kind of stuff.
Wow. Oh, now you're saying he's an alarmist. You're calling him an alarmist. You're calling him a fake news machine. You're telling him he should work for CNN. Wow.
This is outrageous.
Can't believe that.
Some people.
Oh, come on, Jordan. We got to give you a bad time. You're one of our loyal callers, man, you know?
Please, Robbie, you're killing the guy over here. Your character assassinated him.
And,
We're friends like Robbie who need enemies, people.
Wow.
Jesus. Threw him under the bus, man. You told him the guy to back over twice.
Gotta love Robbie B. Gotta love Robbie back.
No,
Yo,
hey,
let's talk about this fight, man, with Crawford and Spence, because that's what really everybody want to see.
Absolutely.
I just want to talk about what are the possibilities of this really being done. Are we talking realistic days? Like we could see this like in 2020, 2022? What are we talking about?
No, I think it'll happen in 2020, Georgie. I don't think it happens next year. I think it's pay-per-view on sometime in 2020.
Okay, so if as a boxing fan, because I'm sharing your view too, that's why I throw these numbers out there. I don't think that's not going to happen next year.
No.
So as a boxing fan, are we going to even report these people fighting anybody else?
Well, in my opinion,
go ahead, Robbie. Go ahead.
In my opinion, they both have to, you know, actually fight people. Like Porter and Spence have to fight. Crawford needs to fight, say, Danny Garcia or Keith Thurman or somebody like. I mean, if you're going to build up a fight like this, they both have to actually fight people. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, and this guy with that gunshot, who he fought before he fought? Before he got shot, did he fought some? I mean, after he got shot, did he fought somebody, or he just came like?
He was off for 2 years, and then he came back and had 2 fights, but they weren't they were knockouts. They weren't long fights.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, okay, so he all right. So he wasn't like cripple like some people trying to make it. Because I might be honest, you know, I saw it do I think once, but I really, you know what I'm saying, not really a fan, never like really follow dude, and he did what he could, you know, against Crawford. Crawford got the skills to probably upset Spence, and I just can't wait to see because that's a more interesting fight than even AJ and Wilder. Because on Wilder and AJ fight, it's about power. Whoever lands the first shit, that's what's up. On this fight, it's skill versus raw power. And I just can't wait to see if Crawford is the next level fucking Jedi Knight dude who can achieve that. I'm serious, Robbie. I'm serious.
So you're saying Crawford has the force with him and Spence does not?
He seems like a force will, the baby. You don't see that this man is special. He is special, bro.
No, they both are special, and that's why it's going to be a good fight. But unfortunately, I think we're going to have to wait at least a year.
But Crawford is different because of the skill level. I don't think he even hit that hard. I just think his technique is so nice that when the punch connects, it's the technique behind it, not just raw power.
Yeah,
well,
right. I'm wrong or what?
No, I think you got a good point there, George. You know, I mean, but we need to see him against people who can show that he's got these kind of skills. I mean, Benavidez, after about 6 rounds last night, he was done. He couldn't move. He couldn't do anything. We need to see him against somebody that's going to keep up with him for a full 36 minutes.
Baby, but you see right there, you're talking about mafias, and you don't even know it. Go for it. This to happen. All roads ended up in Rome, baby. What do you want me to do?
I knew you were going to go there. Be sure to tell
me, but we cannot talk about boxing.
Be sure to tell the Don hello, will you? You know.
Listen, we cannot talk about boxing without acknowledging this situation. I mean, humanity got a bad side to it, and it shows in every aspect of life. And on boxing is the fucking worst. So, that's why we here fucking like a dog waiting for a fucking steak for fucking 2 years from now to see if the fight happens.
All right. So you're saying, let me get this straight. You're saying that Bob Arum, Oscar De La Hoya, Eddie Hearn,
all the niggas,
Heyman, they've all got seats at the mafia table. Is that what you're saying?
Baby, they all kiss the ring. All of them. At the end of the day.
Okay.
At the end of the day, that's the reality. Even
they're all at the table, Robbie. They're at the table. Come on.
Right.
Okay.
You gotta be up to speed on this stuff, man.
Yeah, man, because I know Robbie's kind of naive about this.
Sure.
No, no, I'm not naive. Come on. You know.
Robbie doesn't know the ways of the world yet.
Point here.
He's trying to make a point.
Robbie, please.
Tell them that the matches are real.
So, Aaron, Georgie, who is the Whitey Bulger of the promoters?
Oh, Robbie, please.
Wow.
He went deep.
Now you want these people to call my phone again, huh?
He went deep because you notice how Bulger was from Massachusetts, too. Did you notice that? Look what he did there.
Man. Come on, Robbie.
Look what he did there. That was brilliant, Robert.
Next week. Anything going out there like worth watching?
Yeah, I told you DAZN, man. The zone, son.
Yeah, they have.
The Tony.
I've turned into a friggin' hermit now with this DAZN app. I don't even leave the house anymore.
Yeah, DAZN's got that tournament going on. The World
They're watching
Rodriguez and Maloney. That's going to be a fight right there.
You can watch Bellator last night. I had the tablet with Bellator on, and I was watching Crawford. Yeah.
Got smashed, son.
Yeah. Chill Sonnen getting grounded and pounded.
Well, hey, the Red Sox got
What's up, Daddy?
Last night.
The what?
I said the Red Sox got grounded and pounded last night.
Oh, Robbie, please.
Ah, he went there.
Please, Robbie.
He went in Beantown.
Title Town? Robbie, you talking about Title Town?
No. He's talking about Beantown, son. There's a big difference.
Yeah, well, what happened? What happened to your guys' Red Sox last night, man?
Former World Series champions.
Yeah, after we scrapped New York. What do you mean?
Well, hey, Houston is the defending champion. You're supposed to go in there and take that title.
Wow.
Please, Robbie.
Come on, bro. Come on. It ain't over yet. You're talking like the fat lady.
And you got David Price pitching tonight, and he's probably given up 5 or 6 runs already. Come on.
Wow.
Please, Robbie.
Well, I'll make it short today, guys. I just want to tell everybody out there to support you. You guys do this shit every week out of your heart. Don't ask for anything. The less that we can do is give you a thumb up.
Give us a thumbs up.
Let you guys some peace. All right, I'm out. See you next week.
All right, man. All right.
Georgie, thank you.
All right. Robert.
No, I got to give him a bad time because, you've heard him week after week talk about, well, the Mafia's fixed this and the Mafia's done that. I'm like, okay, well, then all these promoters, they got Mafia memberships.
Robbie, the Mafia is real.
There's no such thing. No such thing.
The Mafia is real, Robbie.
It's real. We don't ever do the allocution on this show, son.
You never know.
Hey,
never
Robert, what did you say? What did you say? How many runs do you think that guy gave up already?
5 or 6.
He gave up 4. It's 5-4 Boston in the top of the 4th, but he gave up 4 runs already.
David Price, he can't pitch
See?
in October, man. He's
Wow.
He can't pitch in October.
Killing you, Beeb.
Where do you get that from?
Killing your boys.
It's like saying I can't eat Twinkies in December. What does that mean?
Killing you, son.
Hey, Beeb,
What does that mean?
He's a choke artist.
go to baseballreference.com and look up David Price's post.
Oh my God! Now I got this guy. One guy tells me to go to BoxRec. Another guy tells me to look up numbers for attendance. Now I got to go to friggin' baseball websites.
Bring back your
What
boy.
do I look like a search engine? What do I look like a search engine? I got Google on my forehead.
Bring back your boy Bill Buckner. It's the only chance they got.
Yeah, right between the legs, right? Yeah.
Oh, please stop bringing that up. Will you please? That was many, many moons ago.
Wow. Is it true they wouldn't let Buckner back in? They hated him in Boston until they won the series.
Oh, they couldn't stand him. Oh.
No.
And once they won the series, everything was okay. But prior to that,
Yeah, exactly.
The guy was getting friggin' death threats. Oh my God, was that horrible?
You guys are awful over there. All right. Area code 804. Corey.
Hey, that's Mr. Corey.
Banger.
What's up, Corey? What's going on?
Corey, what's happening?
Back with another banger.
Yeah. We're good.
Banger.
Yeah. I see Robbie going in on the baseball today, man. He ain't giving no slack.
Yeah, well, my football team laid an egg, so I gotta do something.
Yeah, well, yours wasn't the only one. I'll tell you that.
You know my family from Dorchester, baby. I gotta represent for the Red Sox, baby.
Well, you shouldn't have paid $217 million.
Guess who else is from Dorchester? New Edition, baby.
New Edition.
Man.
New Edition.
Jesus. Wow.
Can't dig up
Kids on the block.
all my world, because I need your love each and every day.
Candy girl.
But listen, y'all, man. I just want to get to the boxing, though, man. I think Terence Crawford, man, he did an awesome job, man. I was very pleased on what I seen, man. With Terence Crawford, he got a remarkable 12th round knockout, man, and that thing was awesome, man. I was just like, wow, man.
He should have ended it earlier, Corey.
I don't know, man.
I think Jose Benavidez was playing it. He was trying to not get knocked out. That's what I think he was doing, and he played it right, because he didn't want to get embarrassed, but he took chances. Jose Benavidez did in the 12th round, and that was the deciding factor. When you open up, sometimes you get put down, That's the same thing that happened with, Yorkis Gamboa, He was doing good. He was winning a couple rounds, but as soon as he started truly opening up, he got sat down, And like I said, Terence Crawford was winning the fight with ease, at least 4 to 5 rounds up easy, so he had no reason to open up. Jose Benavidez in his final corner knew that he was down in that 12th and final round, knew he had to do something, I knew from day one that David Benavidez, not Jose, but David Benavidez was gonna be the elite champion out of the family. I just knew that, man. I still think that David Benavidez is the best super middleweight, even though, Colin Smith, I called in and I was on hold for an hour, Eric. I mean, come on, dude. I called in on that show too. You leave me on hold and forget about me. You let Legendary Boxer come on. You let
Legendary Boxer.
Shout out to both of them.
Legendary.
He's legendary, all right.
Come on, baby. Tell them, Beeb. You got damn. You dropping the ball, baby. Don't do that. But listen, though, man. So, I think Colin Smith is good, and that's another thing though. I think I'm gonna go back to Terence Crawford in a minute, but I think Colin Smith is pretty good. But I don't think just because he got the Ali trophy, I don't think he's the best, 168-pound fighter, man.
How could you say that though?
That David Benavidez, because I just don't, man. I think George Groves was up, is pretty much, George Groves was he got offered up to Colin Smith. I think it was Colin Smith caught George Groves at the right time and at the right place. And it was just youth over, many wars, man, with George Groves, man. I mean, even the easiest fights, man, were wars with George Groves, man. Even the fights that's supposed to be tune-up turned into wars with George Groves, man. I remember when he fought Douglas or Douglin or something. He fought him, and he got touched up pretty good in that fight. He wound up winning that fight, man. But that was a tune-up fight. And I was just like, damn, dude, has he lost it? And then he came back and, stunned us all when he beat Chris Eubank Jr. And we're like, wow. And I still thought Colin Smith was going to win after, Chris Eubank Jr. lost. But I was just like, I didn't think he was going to knock him out. And then when he knocked George Groves out, that really opened my eyes in the 168-pound division, man. But I still think David Benavidez is the best. And after Anthony Durrell fights for that title, I think that he will actually, show that he's the champion. He's the true champion in that division. And then after Caleb Plant and Uskatigi fight, I truly think that, that'll be a unification bout because both are signed with Al Heyman. Really, truly, all four are signed with Al Heyman.
Well, I think Jose
Durrell. Hold on, Robbie. Anthony Durrell and Caleb Plant, Uskatigi, and David Benavidez, they're all signed with Al Heyman, so that'll be, that'll actually definitely be. And a fun fact, you guys, Al Heyman's brother fought Sugar Ray Leonard. Did you know that? Wow, it's a fun fact, man. Corley boxing, baby. Well, yeah, I truly think, man, that with the 107, I'm gonna move up one division, the 175-pound division last week. I tried to call in last week too, Eric. You dropped the ball. I had all this knowledge for you, man.
I love when you drop knowledge.
Time, man. I don't know when you're doing it, man. You just talk about baseball and you drop it I don't know, man. But this is boxing, man. But but like I was saying though, man, 175 pounds. I've been telling you guys. I made a video. The most just man in boxing is Archer Beterbiev. Mark it. Put it on your calendar. There was what Ramsey said. Ramsey is his trainer. He's trained Archer Beterbiev. He's trained Elder Alvarez. And he's trained David Lemieux. You got 3 killers in your stable, dude. This dude Ramsey could possibly be trainer of the year, man. I mean, come on, man. David Lemieux set up for another world title. And I think he got a great stable, man. But I think Archer Beterbiev, this is exactly what happened with Ramsey said out of his own mouth, and this is Archer Beterbiev's trainer. He said that the only reason why Colin Johnson got that title shot, and mind you, when he got the title shot, he was only ranked 13 in the world, but that is after they reshuffled the top 15 rankings for the IBF. The first top 15 of the IBF, and I named them all in my show. They said no. Anthony Yarde got offered to fight. He said no. You got Marcus Brown offered to fight. He said no. These are countless other fighters that did not want to fight Archer Beterbiev, and is on record. This is on record. Frank Warren said his fighter is not ready. Anthony Yarde is, but Anthony Yarde's supposed to be this big bad wolf from the UK, but he'll get put to sleep with Archer Beterbiev. But in my personal opinion, man, I think Archer Beterbiev is the best at 175 pounds. He's 14-0, 14 knockouts. He did get knocked down in a Colin Johnson fight. A lot of fans said that it showed vulnerability, but in my personal opinion, I think he just, I think he got caught. In 175 pounds, man. Beeb, do you agree? And Robbie and Eric, I think all of them fighters got power at that division. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think
there's some heavy hitters up there. Yeah.
I don't think this guy got knocked down.
No,
He sucks. I mean,
light heavyweight means you're gonna have power. So
I mean, I was on my show and people were like, "Oh man, did you see that left hook?" I'm like, he finished him. Did you see the finish? I mean, some of Arthur Benavidez's finishes, man, dude, are just truly, 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 remarkable, man. I mean, the way he finishes some of his opponents, man, is just really, really devastating, man. You got to watch some of Arthur Benavidez's knockouts, man. But as far as 147 pounds down to Terence Crawford, I think Terence Crawford, man, I know Bob Arum recently said in a recent on shout out to Hustle Box, Bob Arum said that Al Heyman does not exist. I mean, I'm like, come on, dude. Like, you're going that hard. You're that senile. We know you're old as dirt, but come on, man. Now you're saying that the guy that you've already spoke of before said he doesn't exist. Bob Arum says he hasn't seen Al Heyman in 3 years. He doesn't exist.
Wow. He's like 86 years old. Don't pay attention to what he says.
and I think that was more of a jest, not necessarily, I mean, obviously he was kidding if he hasn't seen him in 3. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
I don't really think he believes he's like a hologram or something, Corey.
The way he says it, it's just like, really, really, Bob? Come on, man. Really?
He doesn't think he's a ghost or anything right now. He thinks he's real.
I think Terence Crawford, he got man, who is he gonna fight now? Trubisky? I mean, come on, dude. Enough.
I don't know.
He's gonna have.
Enough. He's got to switch sides, man. He's got to either switch sides or either get some co-promoting going on with Steven Espinoza or something, man. I mean, because Steven Espinoza, I interviewed him on my channel, and
a shameless plug.
Laughing at, dude.
Yeah, just nothing.
I just laughed at anything.
That's me.
But Steven Espinoza, when I interviewed him, he was just pretty much saying that that this dude is for real, and he said that a lot of other entities, and this is before the HBO boxing whole ordeal went down, man. A couple weeks ago, but Steven Espinoza pretty much said that a lot of other organizations and like HBO, ESPN, all those different they're trying to get his fighters. They're trying to backdoor his fighters. But he says that he believes in his fighters. He treats them well and stuff like that. So I'm just like, none of them really has left him yet. The only one that I know of note that has left Steven Espinoza was Jesse Vargas. But I think his contract possibly was up, man. But like I said, man, I don't have Adrian Broner, I don't have Javante Davis, I don't have any of those guys leaving him right now, man. Because I think Showtime, man, a lot of people say Showtime, what have they done? What do they do in September? What are they doing October this month? They ain't put on that many shows.
Well, Corey, if you follow past history, Showtime does not put on fights during October. They don't want to because October is a bad month for them. They don't want to interfere with the college football. They don't want to interfere with the baseball playoffs. So they don't put shows on during October. They never really have.
Oh, okay.
Well, the Zone's got shows on every week in October, Robbie.
Yeah.
Who does?
Yeah.
The Zone app.
Oh, I know they do. But they're not dealing with the TV ratings. They don't have to worry about the
great app, man. It's a great app. I actually bought stock in the Zone app.
Yeah.
Hey, the Zone is Beeb's go-to promoter.
Hey, you better believe it.
Beeb Industries.
But,
Eddie Hearn hooked him up with a special discount.
Yeah, I got a nice little discount.
Free.
A little Beeb discount.
Come on, dude. Beeb. I mean, what is the Zone? I mean, that's another thing, you guys. I wanted to talk about the Zone this weekend, man. I watched the Tabiti. I can't pronounce the other guy's name, man, but it was the cruiserweight world champion. Oh, and another thing, you guys. Bellew versus Usyk, baby. Are you ready? This is round 2, Eric.
November 10th. November 10th. Can't wait.
Son, he ain't going nowhere.
My number 1 pound for pound the last 3 years in a row. These
Corey,
You had Usyk, the number 1 pound for pound?
He did. He loves Usyk. After David Haye got knocked out, he loves Usyk.
He just wants to see Bellew get beat. Can't deal with it. Well, I would. Typically, I would do a pie bet with you, but you didn't pay up last time. So your bet's no good here, son.
Come on, baby.
He loses the bet and then disappears for like months on end.
What happened, man? We put out a missing persons report on you and everything.
Enough time now, man. We can schedule the pie bet, man. You got the YouTube channel, man. I got the channel. What's up, dog? I'm ready. Usyk is ready. I'm telling you, pies in hand if he loses. I'll do 2 pies, dog. What's up?
You won't do any pies because you don't pay up.
It's nothing to me, dog.
Because you don't pay up. I know it's nothing to you.
So Eric, who you got Bellew over Usyk? Really?
I don't know.
No, Usyk beats Bellew.
I don't know.
No,
I
hold
like
on, Robbie. You can't speak for him. You can't help him out of this situation. You might have helped him out of the Bellew David Hayes situation, but this is a whole different ball game, baby. You're dealing with a guy in his prime.
Hey, Eric doesn't need my help.
Complete difference. Yeah, complete. He might need it on this one. So what's going on, Eric? Who you betting on, buddy? Are you gonna go with the, your favorite, your golden goose, Bellew? I mean, come on, B. Who is he
Well,
going with?
my golden goose did beat your golden goose twice. Knocked him out both times too. Didn't he knock out Beeb? Didn't he knock out Hay twice?
Twice.
Twice. KO.
Yeah,
Both times. Face down, son.
Yeah,
Face down KOs both times. That was your boy too. That hurt. I know it hurt. I know it hurt. You can say it, man. It's okay.
Hey, listen, Usyk will win by knockout. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think he's knocking him out.
By knockout,
I don't think he's knocking him out.
I think it's made a decision.
Stretch this dude.
He ain't gonna stretch anybody, son.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying Usyk is, feather fisted, this, that, and the third, man. Marco Hunt went 12 hard rounds with Alexander Povetkin, a heavyweight, and Alexander Usyk stretched Marco Hunt. So, it's one of those type of deals, man. People, say that, he doesn't got this time, he doesn't do this, he doesn't got that, but when you really go down to the grassroots of all, man, he's fighting top-notch opposition, dude.
He is, but so is Bellew.
I thought he was going to knock out Gassiev. I didn't think he was going to knock out Gassiev.
No, but I mean, listen. I think
that Usyk's resume is better than Bellew's.
it's possible. He won the tournament.
Already.
He won the tournament.
Already,
He's got all 4
Yeah.
weight belts. Come
And
on.
I know.
But he's coming up to heavyweight now, right? I mean, that fight isn't taking at cruiserweight, right?
No, it's at cruiserweight, Eric.
Oh, it is at cruiserweight. Okay.
Yeah, it's at cruiserweight.
This is gonna blow up the chat, but this is something that I've been saying, but I'm gonna say it live when you guys are there. Alexander Usyk is the best cruiserweight of all time. Yes.
Oh no!
Oh, come
Oh
on.
no!
Son.
What about Evander Holyfield?
Come on, son.
Okay.
Wow. It's time to click, man. Corey's hitting the pipe, son. Corey's on the pipe, son.
90 seconds.
Have you been using Billy Joe Saunders steroids?
No, man, I'm just telling you, man. Usyk is the best. I mean, can y'all tell me another fighter that's done that? And I mean, come on, man. I mean, he's the best.
Well, let's see. Evander Holyfield. Come on.
No, listen, Robbie and Eric and B. He got all 4 belts in 14 fights with the gold
60 seconds.
Didn't Evander Holyfield unify it?
Yes, he sure did. Yep.
Hold on. No, he didn't. He didn't have all 4 belts.
There wasn't 4 belts out back then.
They didn't have 4 belts when a Holyfield
Get
fought.
out of here. Corey, where can we find you?
3 belts with 14 fights. He didn't have 3 belts with 14 fights. He wasn't the unified. He wasn't all 3 belt holder at 14 fights. I'm telling you right now, Usyk's the best. There is no contest. I'm telling you right now.
There is no contest. Is that what he said?
Yeah.
What?
There there is no contest. Okay. Wow.
There is no contest.
14 fights with 4 belts and 1 gold medal. That's my call.
Somebody send Corey a dictionary. Corey, where can we find you? Oh, he dropped. He just dropped. Find Corey Lee on Corey Lee Boxing on YouTube.
Yeah. Jeez.
His phone ran out of minutes and it just cut.
Thank you. Oh my.
Usyk the best, huh? Usyk's the best. Interesting. He may be the best now, but the best of all time?
No.
Come on,
I could argue that.
Yeah, I could argue that too. All right. Hey, Beeb.
Yes.
Where do the best callers in the world come from?
Ohio, of course.
Ohio.
614, you're live.
Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing? Man?
What's happening, man?
Can you follow that up?
Man, hilarious, man. Corey.
What's happening?
Oh, man.
Yeah, okay.
I was like 30 minutes. My goodness.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna keep it long. I promise, man.
Oh, thank God.
It's funny he mentioned. It was so funny he mentioned Bobby Heyman. That's Al Heyman's brother.
I know.
I never really mentioned Bobby. Yeah, you can find him on the website, but it's funny because I knew Bobby Heyman. He dated my aunt, and I've always been around certain celebrities because of Bobby Heyman.
Oh wow!
Yeah, my aunt. Yeah, she stayed in Athens. She was in she was a beauty pageant. She was in pageants and stuff a lot.
Oh wow!
Okay. All right.
I believe she was probably one of his groupies, but you know, he traveled. She traveled with him. They flew to different places. I met MC Hammer, SWV. I've met a lot of those pictures of all these celebs. I didn't even know you could promote. They was promoting wrestlers, like, you know, Sting and different stuff like that.
Yeah. Back in the good old days.
Yeah. So yeah, but Bobby is one of gave Al some tips. Bobby know a lot about the business.
That's right.
Yeah, he's a real successful man. But anyway, so that the fight, man, it was good. I liked it. I predicted that. I don't know if Eric's seen it, but I predicted that fight would go 12 rounds. Man, I thought.
You sure did.
Yeah, I thought I was going to go 12. I just felt like the style. I looked at the styles. I didn't look at the resumes. I felt like.
Well, it almost made it, man. Jose did better than I thought he would.
I was 30 seconds off, probably 19 seconds off, but you know, from that prediction, I just felt like it was going to be a Victor Posto, Ray Beltran type of fight, where he's more of a chess match. He's and Benavidez had a very good. He can counter. He can counter. He was hitting cans with some good shots. I never heard too much about his knee. I know they mentioned that a lot.
Oh, they
were all over that.
That was their go-to card, man. It was like,
man, they mentioned that a lot. But he fought, man. He fought with a lot of heart. I remember I posted something about the last seconds, and I said that's how hometown fighters finish strong. And I said I remember Bronner in Cincinnati having that same almost type finish, but he didn't stop. Emmanuel Taylor, he fought Emmanuel Taylor, and towards the closing seconds, Bronner hits him with this shot, a little uppercut. And Taylor goes down with like 19 seconds. He got back up, but the place erupted in Cincinnati when Crawford, not Crawford, but when Broner did that. So I know that feeling when Nebraska just went crazy. And we know Crawford is one of the best finishers, man. And I was like, yep, it's going to stop it. And he showed that he got it, man. He got the stoppage right before the fight. That's how you're supposed to end it. In the show, man. You're supposed to end it like that. I don't know. Going into the next fight for Crawford, I hope it is not Mike Alvarado. I hope it's not Mike Alvarado.
You know,
he's got to fight. He's got to fight somebody on the other side, man.
Hope not. I seen him on the card and I said, please.
He's been on a couple of those undercards too. Yeah.
Man, I'm like, please.
Oh,
no.
And
I'm like, oh, no, please don't do that. Because I'll protest that one. I would not watch that one. I just think highly of parents in that regard that you shouldn't be fighting on Mike Alvarado. But I'm hearing a lot of people, Eric and Beeb, correct me, and Rob, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm hearing some people say they think some of these fighters is waiting to Errol Spence get out of the weight class, grow out of the weight class. It's like, what's this now? I'm hearing a lot of people say that, and I never thought of that. But that's kind of messed up if that's the route some of these fighters is taking.
Yeah,
well,
I don't.
You know what you know what that tells me? That tells me they got the Triple G syndrome. Remember how the middleweights didn't want to fight Triple G? It's the same way in the welterweights. A lot of the welterweights don't want to fight Errol Spence.
Wow, and that's crazy. Crawford needs to try to make that fight. It bothered me that he didn't call them out, but yes, he has said, "Hey, I want all the tell anybody with a belt." But come on, man, call some names out. You put on some performances like that, we want to hear you say names. It's like, come on. But Crawford has called them out. He just don't say it in the way we want him to say it.
Right.
He said, and I think that's just something. It bothers some people.
And when you're on TV, yes, we know the reality of the situation. You've signed a long-term extension with both ESPN and Bob Arum, Top Rank, so we know who's in control of your career. But when you have a microphone in front of your face, don't just sit there and say, "Well, it's up to Bob."
You got to make the most of it.
Paid to make,
Yeah, you got to make the most of it.
You've got to make the most of it. That's part. It's part of promoting yourself.
And I agree with you, Rob. I'm starting to believe that he got a gag order where he ain't allowed to speak of out Heyman fighters or something. It's just like, because he says a lot on Twitter and Instagram about different fighters. And Errol Spence, he responds so much, but when it's under the lights of Top Rank, it's like they don't exist. So it's just, to me, that's just. I'm riding with Crawford, especially when that fight happens. I'm definitely going to go with Crawford, so I'm riding with Crawford on that. So I think
but unfortunately, again, I think it's going to be a long time before we see that fight, and he's got to do a better job of promoting himself.
Well, what's your definition of long time? 2 years? Because I think
I think it's going to be 2 years.
That's unfortunate because Spence may be at 154 by then.
He's a big guy. Spence
I don't think Crawford can go up to 154.
No.
I agree. I don't think he's going to be there that long.
But Beeb, say he moves up to 154, he'll have the same problem. All the 154 guys are over there too.
No, Crawford's not going to move up to 154.
Spence.
You mean Spence? No. Okay.
That's what I said.
No, Spence. Yeah, Spence is good.
Crawford can't go up. It's not big enough.
We got Jamel up there, and they buddies. So Jamel, how many belts did he get? That will slow down from Earl from moving to 154. So maybe he's gonna pick and choose or catch weights where he fighting 160 fighters. I think that's gonna be a big problem too. If him going 154 with Jamel still there and they're friends, we know how that works. So it depends on how many belts Jamel get before he moves up.
Yeah.
So that's another thing where he vacates some. I don't know how to do it, but
I don't know. I see a lot of boxing politics getting in the way of all this, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I do hope they fight, man. I do hope Crawford and Spence go at it, man. They need to make that fight. Sean too. Sean need to get. I can't believe I'm hearing Sean talking about Berto coming out of his mouth. Like, are you serious? I remember I commented on one of the videos. I said, "No, it sounds like Ohio runs from boxing. Don't do it."
You already knocked out Berto.
I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big Sean Porter guy, man. I just think that he, like I said, man, I think he shies away. He wants money fights now, and that wasn't Sean Porter back then. He wanted to fight everybody. Now he only wants to fight certain people.
Yeah.
It seems like that happens to a lot of them, man.
And
that's scary. I hate to see that. Now, I hate to see that in the boxing game, and I'm learning of it. When they get that belt, man, it's money. I want to see about him because that draw backfired. And then all of a sudden, the WBC was like, "Hey, we still got you. We got Berto and Key. We got 2 mandatories for you." Like, we think he ain't got no more options. And the WBC, like, we got your back. And I'm like, But no, anyway, that's my call, guys. I want to say,
okay.
Enjoy the show. I will be listening.
We appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Told you the best callers come from Ohio.
No.
All right. Did we go over the Pacquiao PBC thing yet?
No, we didn't even talk about that yet.
Okay. So we got a couple news stories left before we sign off here. Manny Pacquiao signs with the PBC. There were a lot of rumors swirling around about this one, but now it is 100% confirmed. Pacquiao is expected to fight in January. The PBC actually has a show scheduled for January 19th at Las Vegas MGM, and that is the rumored date of Pac-Man's return. The opponent, we don't know yet. There's been a lot of speculation. It could be Titletown's own Adrian Bronner, but again, that's a big rumor. It could be any number of people there. Honestly, it could be any number of people. Bronner's a big draw. Bronner's a big draw. So I think that's a big fight. I think that's a good fight. I think both guys are on the slide. I still think Bronner wins. But again, both guys are on the slide. So they got to pick somebody. If they're looking to make Manny Floyd 2, which it sounds like that's what they're wanting to do.
Which is disgusting, but okay.
Well, yeah, and Floyd is talking about he wants to fight somebody too, and I've read that Floyd has said, that he doesn't even necessarily have to be a boxer. It could be a kickboxer, MMA guy, could be anybody. So,
oh, good God,
right. So, Pacquiao signed. Like I said, man, Pacquiao signed on. My guess is they're not going to put him in too much danger. If they're looking to make that fight, they're not going to put him in too much danger. So we'll see what happens there.
I think, come on, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Manny Pacquiao done? I mean, come on, the last guy he beat was Lucas Matisse. I mean, really?
Great fight.
I keep going back to the Jeff Horn fight. I just keep going back to the Jeff Horn fight. And I say this all the time. When you have fighters that say, hey, I want to entertain the fans now. I'm not looking to move more. I'm looking to sit down on my punches and give the fans what they want. That's code for my legs are shot. All right. Manny Pacquiao has been a watched fighter, I think, for a long time, for quite a while now. And that's why I say
what happened to the rumor we reported 2 weeks ago about Adrian Bronner fighting Floyd in Japan in January? I mean,
it was a rumor.
Is that completely out? Is that out the window now?
I don't know. I think Adrian Bronner may price himself out of fights. If you look at his Instagram, he said that he wants $100 million to fight Pacquiao or Mayweather.
Yeah, he's nuts.
He's crazy. That's not going to happen. Yeah, we're going to give you $50,000. That's it. I mean, he's not going to get that kind of money. He's not going to be the A side in either one of those fights. I give him a chance. I tell you what, I would favor him in either one of those fights, though. I really would.
Yeah, I mean,
people think I'm crazy, but I would.
Look, and why would Al Heyman pick up a 39-year-old or 40-year-old Pacquiao? I mean, is it just for the Floyd fight? Because a few years ago it might have made sense. Because look at all the 147-pound guys he's got. But now if you're just going to use him to set up a Floyd Mayweather 2 fight. Bad investment.
Well, he draws money. I mean, that's the one thing we can't say is he draws money. Joe Lopez in the chat. Eric, you have Bronner beating Pacquiao? I do. I have Bronner.
I don't.
I have Bronner beating Pacquiao, and I also
Bronner beats Pacquiao.
I think Bronner beats Pacquiao, and I think Bronner beats Floyd. I'm telling you, Floyd is done.
No.
I'm telling you. Yeah.
Pacquiao's going to fight next?
I guarantee you.
Sammy Vasquez, I bet you.
Pacquiao.
Who?
I bet you he fights like a guy like Sammy Vasquez next.
Wow.
Or Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah, I don't know.
They'll give him a soft touch.
I think so. I think they might. But they got to get somebody who's going to draw because nobody was going to watch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, I got an idea. Keith, no fight Thurman. He's not fighting anybody.
Stop, Robbie.
Dwayne in the chat just said thumbs up for hanging up on Jason.
Thank you. We'll do it more often.
Kamal Oz just says AB gets washed by both. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't think so.
I think so.
I don't think so.
Titletown,
baby.
I think they're both done. I think they're both done.
I mean, Bronner just lost to Jesse Vargas, in my opinion.
Yeah.
No, I thought he beat Jesse Vargas.
The fight was a draw, but I thought Jesse Vargas beat him.
No.
Most people thought Jesse Vargas won that fight too. I had it.
Oh my God!
I had it 7-5. How'd you have that fight, Robbie?
I think Adrian barely pulled it out, but I mean, come on. in their primes, neither one of these guys would touch a guy like Broner. But now Broner could beat both of them with his eyes closed.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I had Broner winning the Vargas fight like 12 rounds to 0. I think that's what I had.
He's done, man. Both of these guys are done. You know.
Robert going in.
And if anybody pays for that second fight, they're complete idiots.
Broner Bailey beat Granados.
Oh, Broner stripped Granados, man. I was there live.
Oh,
I was
come on,
front
Eric.
row live. That fight wasn't even close.
Show, man.
Son, this is title time. Adrian Broner is a friend of the show. How dare you?
Oh yeah, he's such a friend of the show. He's got the train wreck record. He wins it more than anybody else ever does. I mean, how many more bowling alleys is he going to destroy?
Oh, how dare you? How dare you? It was outside of the bowling alley, by the way.
Yeah, I
know. All right. Tank Davis apparently assaulted a stripper.
Oh my God.
How is that not our train wreck of the week?
Oh God. Gonna have to start having a couple train wrecks of the week.
Yeah, right. Yeah. How is it these past couple of weeks, Robert, and you know this as well, in these past couple of weeks, we've kind of had like multiple train wrecks of the week, right?
Yep.
I mean, come on, man.
Yep.
All right. TMZ is reporting that Tank Davis assaulted a woman at a strip club. A woman claims boxing star Gervonta Davis punched her in the head multiple times during an incident at a Dallas strip club, and now intends to sue Davis for $2 million.
Wow.
The accuser's attorney that's right. The accuser's attorney tells us that the woman was struck in the left side of her head with a closed fist at the King of Diamonds in Dallas on April 30th. We're told the woman was an employee at the club. Now, Robert, you've been to the King of Diamonds in Dallas plenty of times. It's a very well-known strip club. Robert has been known to get free ones there. Robert, is this a nice club? This is a pretty nice club. You frequent it quite a bit, yes?
I have no idea.
You have no idea?
No
He's not.
idea.
Ladies, he's not talking.
Christ.
She's at least going to get a couple $100,000 out of this guy at the very least.
At least.
There's no way she doesn't get something out of this.
No.
Yeah, and maybe she'll get enough. She won't have to do that kind of work anymore.
Ooh, please.
Oh, wow. Hey, she's got to pay for her education, Robert. Come on.
Pay for college. She may have a kid. You don't know the situation.
Isn't that always a stripper line? I got to pay through college.
Yeah. I'm going to be an actress.
Yeah, right.
You know how many people, how many women Robert's put through school like that? The woman said she was
Oh my.
The woman said she was hospitalized with a traumatic head injury and had to seek counseling to deal with her psychological injury associated with the attack.
Oh no.
So yeah, man, $2 million. That's that's a big chunk.
Hopefully she'll get every single penny. That'll teach him.
And Gervonta Davis, and speaking of him, he's on Twitter and he what is it, hashtag free Gervonta or something like that, or free Gervonta or free Tank Davis. Maybe it's free Tank Davis. I don't know what I got written down there.
Okay.
It's one of those, but he wants to get out of his contract with Floyd because he says he's not fighting. He said he's not fighting enough and he wants to fight more, and that Floyd's not really doing stuff for him. And so him and Floyd are definitely on the outs.
So funny. Floyd loves to travel the world, right? Why wasn't he in Russia for the Tabiti fight?
You know what's funny is that Floyd, I think, honestly, man, is more interested in promoting himself than he is promoting anybody else.
At least Oscar De La Hoya created another Oscar De La Hoya in Canelo. Like, what has Floyd done with that promotional company?
It tanked him. I mean, really. I mean, he really has. I mean, he hasn't done much. I mean, he really hasn't done much with those guys. And I mean, if Floyd is such a big star that, I mean, really, no matter where he goes, he's mobbed. And the fact that he doesn't drop the names on these guys, that he's not appearing at these press conferences for these guys, that he doesn't go out there and promote these guys, but instead, every time you see him, he's almost like Trump, where he promotes himself. Every time he goes on a campaign trail to promote somebody else, he's promoting himself, just as hard, if not harder.
What's the deal with Badu Jack? How did Badu Jack not get a rematch?
Right?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah, I have no clue. So
no, Vozdik's gonna fight Stevenson now,
and he'll collect Social Security.
Yeah.
Vozdik's definitely going to lose. You know why? Because Teddy Atlas is training him.
How dare you?
Teddy
Who do you
Atlas.
think you are?
Oh my
Nobody
God.
talks about Atlas like this. Like, Atlas is the GOAT, son.
Oh, please.
He's the fireman. That's how you know when you're in the right place where the heat is.
He was on the Joe Rogan podcast. Did you see him?
Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah, he was good on there too. He
did a good job.
I thought he did a real good job.
He was interesting.
Yeah, he's Teddy Atlas. He's interesting.
For about 3 minutes.
Of course, he's interesting.
For about 3 minutes.
Tell you what, he's better than Mark Kriegel.
Then he's telling Joe Rogan that Tyson was not a great fighter.
He wasn't when he walked in the gym. What's this?
Andre Ward and Timothy Bradley at ringside. Come on.
Tim Bradley.
Get rid of Kriegel.
Yeah, get rid of Kriegel, but Tim Bradley, I mean, replace him too. He's not great either.
No.
I like Andre Ward.
Yeah, you put
I like Andre Ward
Bradley
too.
together. I think that'll be fun.
You know who loves Andre Ward? Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman loves him.
He does love Andre Ward.
Max Kellerman loves everybody that was associated with the dying HBO nowadays.
Wow.
And by the way, that's next week. We'll talk about the final episode of HBO boxing.
Well, they're trying to get Canelo. They're trying to, from what I understand, with De La Hoya, is trying to get Canelo on there one last time.
Well, I don't think he'll succeed, but good luck with that.
What's their last fight again, Robbie?
Jacobs and
Derevyanchenko.
Derevyanchenko, yeah, I couldn't think of it.
So now Jacobs is going to be on the DAZN app now instead of HBO.
I would imagine, yeah.
I don't know. But like I said earlier, Eddie's got the built-in automatic title thing because once Andrade wins the title in Boston and then Jacobs wins the title on the 27th, the two of them fight to unify, and then the winner gets Canelo.
Can you imagine that?
I mean, yeah.
Can you imagine that? He's got 2 middleweight champions now.
Yeah.
He will have him if everything goes the way we think it's going to go.
Frank Warren got screwed, son.
Oh my God.
He got screwed, son. Did you guys think that Billy Joe was going to beat Andre, or what'd you think?
Dump Saunders.
Yeah, Saunders was going to be. I thought I would have taken Saunders.
I would have taken Saunders too.
Yeah, Saunders was going to walk.
Would you have taken Saunders over Andre, Robbie?
Yeah. No
yeah,
problem.
I would. Yeah, I would have taken.
I thought he would beat. Yeah, I thought he would beat him.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And now Eddie's going to have two of the middleweight belts, and both of his guys could fight one another.
And then when Andre wins the title, you know what he's going to say? Why should I fight this guy? He's a drug cheat. I don't trust him. Exactly. That's what's going to happen. You watch.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is horrible. What happened to Billy Joe Saunders? He lost out. He's losing a lot of money on this whole thing.
He has no idea how much money he left on the table. He really doesn't.
Well, not only that, I think it messed up his entire career.
If he couldn't get the nasal spray that he took allegedly, he should have just admitted that. He should have just said, "I'm sorry. I don't know what happened." Blah 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 blah. And he should have threw himself on the mercy of the commission, but he didn't.
Well, you know what? This kind of came back to haunt him because you remember like I said, the Martin Murray fight. He pulled out of the Martin Murray fight because he thought he was going to get a fight with Canelo because he thought that the Canelo Triple G2 fight was not going to happen.
Oh, he thought he was going to get a fight with Golovkin, I thought.
Or maybe it was Golovkin.
Yeah, it was Golovkin.
It was Golovkin. You're right. It was Golovkin.
Because they were negotiating with Golovkin.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But yeah, I mean, but he pulled out of it, and it's like the most unprofessional thing you can do.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that's great, you know. So he pulls out of it, and then he gets busted, and he gets busted for this, and this is 4 canceled fights. That's a big deal.
Yeah,
that's a huge deal.
Then the whole thing with that friggin' drug person on the street that he did, that was horrible.
Yeah, I mean,
that was disgusting.
It wasn't even funny. I mean, it wasn't even.
It wasn't even remotely funny. It was.
No, it was like what are you doing?
It turned my stomach seeing that.
Yeah,
poor thing. Well, poor woman.
No, he doesn't realize that he just totally destroyed his boxing.
Oh, most definitely, he's in trouble now.
Yeah, he's in big trouble. I mean, because like I said, I mean, from a promotion point of view, maybe, and I believe he's under contract with Frank Warren, so Frank Warren's stuck with this guy. But the point is, like, again, if I'm like Canelo Alvarez, I'm not fighting this guy.
No, you don't have to fight him now.
I'm not.
Now everyone's going to sit there and say, no, we don't Why should we fight this guy?
Fight day. Listen, man, he's not going to make the fight day. So why would I put money? Why would we put any time and any effort when we don't know if this guy is going to make the fight day?
And you know what happens too in situations like this? Sometimes what fighters will do, they'll throw a contract together, and they'll say, well, you know, if you pull out, you have to pay me such and such amount.
Right.
Yeah,
or the promoter. That's what's going to have to be.
I've seen situations like that before.
If you have to cancel for any reason, or you don't make it to the fight for any reason, hey,
you got to pay me.
Boom. Yeah, you got to pay this, right? Just like a weight contract or anything else.
Yeah, it's like Amir Khan's rehydration request of friggin' Kell Brook. What a disgrace that is.
He's in a terrible spot now because he can't promote this guy. I mean, how do you pick up the phone and try to set up a fight with
guy
if you're his promoter? I mean, because you have nothing to stand.
How old is he? Like 30 years old?
Who, Saunders?
Yeah.
Saunders?
I don't know.
He's still young.
Yeah.
He's still in his prime.
Box record.
Joe Lopez in the chat just says Saunders wants to win the train wreck of the week title from Adrian Bronner.
Working on it.
I think he did it.
That's it, man. All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up, man. That'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert, or you can call Ringside Robbie's Corner at 917-259-1810 and leave him a message. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1 and find his YouTube channel at beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. On Twitter, I'm at Ringside73, and we will see you next week.
All right.